We are live. It is HBCU Coaches Corner. You know who it is. It is Mr. Campbell. It is Coach Cole. Hey, man, Rocky is not going to be with us tonight. His son is graduating. We got a little feedback. Sorry about that. Yeah. Wait a minute. There we go. He'll get Coach Fred up here. His son is graduated, but guess what, though, Coach? Me and you going to hang tough. We've got a couple people that's going to join us, man. We're going to do a couple of things that's going to be really exciting. Man, you know, of course, we're going to break down the Celebration Bowl HBCU National Championship. Andrew Body has hit the portal. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Marshall Faulk. We're going to talk about all the coaching openings. And, Coach, we're going to talk about what we have seen going on. So, Coach, I tell you what, I'm gonna bring up one of the guys right here because I want these people to see who we got on, Coach. I'm going to tell you this, Coach. You know, one of the things, the biggest feedback that I got, what people love, on Friday night, they said, hey, man, you guys really broke that game down. Yeah. You guys were talking football. People that have played have been in those championships. So, Coach, you know what? I'm going to tell you what. This guy right here picked it right here, Coach. That's Coach Fred. This guy told you what that defense was going to do. That's what we had to see, Coach. That's the reason why we have people on HBCU Coaches Corner who have played these teams, have seen these players. So, Coach, we got Coach Fred on here. We're going to have, guess what? Guys, in a few minutes, we're going to have Bruce Eugene, because Bruce Eugene told you guys what you need to look for. And Bruce Eugene told you guys being there means a lot. And guess what? Being there also helped South Carolina State. So listen here, guys. I'm going to tell you one of the things, and Coach Fred, give me a few minutes. One of the most enjoyable, I've been to every Celebration Bowl. I've had my team be there. Jack State is also my team. But this was the time where I could just sit back and enjoy the Celebration Bowl. And this man that is on this show, the head of this show, Johnnie Cole, let me tell you all, a lot of you all see Coach Cole and y'all want to say, oh, Coach don't know and Coach don't understand and Coach has passed away. I want to tell you the whole weekend, the amount of men, coaches, women, ADs, fans that came up to this man. He had two of his former players from Lane that said if it was not for this man, I would not be here today as a successful young man. We sat down with Coach Tremaine Jackson eating dinner, and he talked about his time with Coach Cole. We had another coach from Kennesaw State who played for Coach Cole, who said, I had to be here Friday night because of this man. I would not be in the position of Kennesaw State. I think sometimes we don't understand when we're in the presence of greatness. And sometimes, I'm just going to say it, Coach, we don't honor our elders. I think a lot of times we think that things are passed us by, but I'm going to keep telling you all, wisdom and experience, you cannot buy it. You cannot rush it. And what you get here on HBCU Coaches Corner from Johnnie Cole, and I'm going to say this again, Coach of the Year in the SWAC, Coach of the Year in the SIAC, you need to listen to him. You need to respect it. We have a great time on the show. There's a reason why no other show can get all these championship coaches. Because I'm going to tell you a secret. Y'all know Chinsberry going to come on this show. Y'all know he's coming. Just letting you know, he had to go see the mayor today. That's the only reason why he's not on here tonight.
That's right.
So I want all of you all to give Coach Cole his flower because he has played in the HBCU sport for Texas Southern. He has coached his alma mater. He has mentored so many people, and he's still mentoring people. He's still mentoring people. So I just want us to sometimes take a step back because I know everybody thinks they're expert, Coach Fred. Everybody got a podcast, and everybody thinks they know. But there's a difference between thinking you know and know you know. What I saw this weekend by so many, I'm talking about SWAC Hall of Famers, MEAC Hall of Famers, Coaching Hall of Fame, Buddy Pugh, Trey Oliver, people like that, Willie Simmons, Sean Gregory, saying, man, that's Johnnie Cole right there. Jay Walker. These are people that have come up and give Coach Cole his flowers and respect. Coach, it's an honor for me to be sitting next to you every week. And I just want you to know we appreciate you on this show. You have done something that nobody else has done to give an avenue for coaches to come on, talk about their program, and show you the greatness of HBCU coaches.
Yeah, what you trying to do, man? Choke me up. First I want to thank you guys, man. I can't do it without you guys, and Fred and guys that we bring on, and God is real, man. And, I have my relationship with him, and I don't have to wear a cross around my neck or nothing. But, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I always think about that a lot of, coaching. Should I be on the sideline? But I think I'm where I want to be. I think we're moving in the right direction with this show, allowing our coaches, our HBCU guys, our career coaches, avenue and a platform to be able to sell themselves and to be able to educate our people. Uh, I think in my mind that most of our people learn stuff from high school because they don't get the exposure on the college level to really deep dive into football. So this platform, this show, gives these just regular people that are fans and stuff, you know, brass tacks of what it is about of being a coach, being on that sideline, talking about X's and O's, talking about the mental aspect of this game. So, man, I can't say enough. I thank everybody for continuing to follow us. Make sure that you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys join. We want to take this thing to another level. We started out, me and Rocky, and then Bishop added Bishop, is just talking and getting things out, and man, it actually is going in the right direction. So we're gonna continue to do content. We're gonna get even more deeper. We took our show to Atlanta, and the Bishop will tell you about that. And we look to put our show on the road. We need you guys to continue to subscribe, to continue to join. If you could throw $1 or $2 in there, that's good too. So we can move forward. At the end of the day, man, it's about these great guys that's putting all their heart and their soul into these jobs, and we want to make sure that you know something about them.
Well, Coach, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. We appreciate you so much, man. Listen, this has been a great year, HBCU football. And see, our family grows, because we have coaches. See, like my man, Coach Fred, I called him and I said, man, and I'm going to say this. For all the coaches, PWI, HBCU, D2, wherever you're at coaching, this man right here, I think has shown coming on this show the level of knowledge, the level of intelligence, and also how to talk to kids. So I'm just telling you, we bring real coaches on this show. Now, Coach Fred, I'm going to throw something at you. I want you to tell them folks how you did in Atlanta with your boy, Mr. Campbell, and what happened.
Man, look here. I don't know how to set it up, but I'm going to just say this. It was top notch from top to bottom. From the time I pulled up to the hotel to the time he brought me back to the hotel. Mr. Campbell, Bishop, preacher, reverend, all that stuff they call you. It's real. Like, again, we pull up to the after party after the show. There's no waiting in line. It's like, oh, come on. And when we go right in, it's like, what y'all want? Oh, okay. 5 minutes later, it's out there. My guy, Mr. Campbell, is on point. I don't care what nobody else say. Mr. Campbell's on point. And I know my boy Blue, my co-host on our other deal, he on point. But Mr. Campbell is on point. And then I can't even say enough about Coach Cole and just being around him, as you just said there, Mr. Campbell, the aura, the amount of people that react to or respond to just seeing Coach. And I'm right there with him. Like, Coach, rub that off on me, man. I'm right there with him. You know what I mean? The only problem we had was he didn't agree with my pick, and I definitely didn't agree with his. But we're gonna get into that, right, Mr. Campbell? We
about to get into it. We are about to get into it because I'm gonna tell y'all something. Listen, and we all know the affection and honor that Coach Cole has for Tremaine Jackson. And Coach, I'm gonna try to tell you, boy, Coach Little, he was distraught, boy. There was some coaching in that press box. If Coach would have had that headset on when they ran that reverse, hey, listen, I am telling you, Coach was up there coaching his heart out. And, again, I shout out to Chinnisberry. Shout out to Tremaine Jackson. That coach knows very well both of them because there was no loser for Coach. But again, of course, Tremaine Jackson is one of his proteges, so we understood where his heart was at and we understood where his picks was at. So, you know what? We'll get into it, Coach. We're going to start with you and tell us overall what your feel of the game was. I'm just going to tell you to set it up, man. I've been to every one of these, man, and I thought that Jackson State, North Carolina Central game was amazing, man. But this game even topped that. I mean, you had the superstars in that game, but you just had football players that played with their heart in that game, Coach.
Yeah. It was a tale of two games, man, and I'll be the first to say I was wrong, or I could say I was half wrong because my idea was it wasn't going to be a matchup. I felt that Prairie View was the best team. They showed it for 30 minutes and really about 32 minutes until guys, I've watched a lot of football. I've never been on the team that was up 21-0 or up some points and then turn the ball over and then the whole atmosphere of the game just changed. It just changed. And it was like a heavyweight fight where one guy was just tearing the guy up from round 1 to round 7. And then round 8, the guy that was about to fall down, Coach. He swung and hit him with a left hook and knocked the champ down, and the champ just could not pull back until he got himself together. But by then it was too late and they stopped the fight. That's how intense it was in overtime and everything. I've never been around that before. So it was my first time ever seeing that a game can turn that bad for one team. Both teams were prepared. I thought it was a good game. South Carolina State struggled in the first half, trying to figure out the offense, trying to get together on defense. I think the difference was Cam, the quarterback. He made play after play after play, whether he scrambled for yards or he scrambled and found somebody down the field. And they were putting it together. And what happened was, one of the things that happened what changed the game is that PV put their quarterback out. But they had another guy named Stubbulfield out of Texas. Came in, and he was the one that always could extend plays, always could get 3 or 4 yards once he got out of there. So he became a triple threat. And I think he was the difference in the football game, on both considered on both sides of the field. So, like I said, it was a great game. South Carolina State came roaring back. You got to take your hat off to Chinnisberry. I don't know if they ate dynamite at halftime or not, or they had dynamite in their belt waiting on somebody to light it. I think Prairie View lit it. And as you always say, Mr. Campbell, they struck out the band. The band started playing. It started being HBCU up in that mud. One thing of talking to Tremaine Jackson, and I was like, man, was the stadium was it too much for your players? He kind of felt that the players didn't choke. I shouldn't say choke. I'm using the wrong word. The players didn't get tight. He felt that the coaches got tight, And how does a coach get tight? They start calling safe plays. They start calling safe defenses. And that's instead of just, consistent with the game plan, they start pulling back on stuff and reverting to stuff sometimes that you never even called before the game. You just searching and looking for something to make it happen. So it was a tough game. We'll talk about the last play of the game later because we could talk about that all night.
Coach Fred, you picked South Carolina State. You gave us some inside information, which we saw that their defensive player of the year was going to travel against Prairie View's #1 wide receiver, which was part of the big plays of the game that you saw that battle. And there was a battle between those two young men. Talk about what you saw
Now,
Talk about what you thought about the game. Huh?
yeah, Wilfred, he traveled. He did just what you said, but that kid still had a great game. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
You ready, Mr. Campbell?
Hey, listen, hey, man, the floor is yours, brother.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to Friday night. No, I'm going to go back to our show before Friday night. And I told the listeners, I told the viewers, it was going to be a situation of who can handle the situation the best, right? I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the TV copy yet, but Coach Jackson, PV's head coach, said that his kids were a little out of sorts because it was their first time playing indoors, right? If you go back and look at that, he said that to the reporter who called him. And what did I say? Who would have that experience? South Carolina State had that experience. They had been there before, right? Now, after talking to my inside sources at South Carolina State, even though his kids have been there, they still had last year in their minds, that first half. We got DBs falling down in coverage. We got kids trying to overextend. And the game kind of got out of hand, right? And if you go back and you look, that's what happened. Mr. Campbell, we both got Florida roots, right? I hate Steve Spurrier, right? Because I'm a no. But Steve Spurrier always said, if I'm up, I'm not taking my foot off the gas. It's not my job to stop. If I got the third string quarterback in there, he's practiced all week. He needs to be able to play the same playbook everybody else has played, right? I felt like PV took their foot off the gas coming into the second half, and that allowed South Carolina State to catch up, because before then, they couldn't catch up to what PV was doing. And if you go back and you watch, when they thought they were running, they were passing. When they thought they were passing, they were running. They couldn't catch up. So I think in the second half, for whatever reason, PV, whether they felt like they didn't want to embarrass South Carolina State or whatever, they kind of took their foot off the gas, and that allowed them to catch up. Now, Coach Cole, Bishop, I'm trying to search for what I need to call you tonight, Mr. Campbell.
Hey, you call me Mr. Campbell. That's fine. It's Mr. Campbell. You're fine.
Bishop,
You know what I mean? You know, that's just like I say, it's some Scott never started. But, hey, man, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Campbell's fine.
So, and I'm never going to second guess, because I'm one of the guys with the collar shirt on, right? But if you're on your 30, 35, what does calling a reverse give you as far as an advantage, right? What does that give you? That gives you nothing, because you're probably not going to break a 70, 75-yard reverse to the house. That's probably not going to happen. So what does that give you? Now, people point to that as being the momentum changer. And I can agree with that. But if you remember now, PV was able to take back control. But at that point, South Carolina State felt like, or I feel like they felt like, oh, we're here now. We even. So now we can just play ball. And I think, you know, the reverse gave them life, but I don't think that was the complete turn. I think the complete turn was the first missed field goal. And I know we'll dig into this deeper, but the first missed field goal, I think South Carolina State was like, oh, we here. Okay, let's go. And now, number 5, and I'm going to tell you from a former receiver, when you in that zone, I don't care who you put over there. He can't guard me. Hey, man, 3rd and 17. Hey, man, throw the ball to me. And that's what they did, and PV couldn't stop it. I think they converted a 3rd and 16, 4th and long. And that's where the game went left. And then I don't know about y'all, but I wasn't privy to or didn't know about that pass to Pease. When they played that, oh, man. Okay.
I'm going to say something. I want to talk about that too. But because of Coach Cole, I think this is very important, because Coach Cole, I was there when that over. But let me tell you something. I was up there with B.J. Jones. And they played at a certain time, that pass to Pease. And when they scored that 14 points, and I looked at B.J. Jones, I said, they're getting ready to play it right now. And that stadium went nuts, from the players to the band, to every Q in that house that wasn't even part of the chapter of South Carolina. And I mean, everybody was, they all were in unison of that dance and that clap. And that's when you felt, people were talking about how many people there. It didn't make a difference. You heard the force of that South Carolina State crowd right there when they played that pass to Pease.
And I'm going to tell you this. As we talked about before that Friday show, can South Carolina State stay patient within their offense and work the underneath game, work those little zones and stay under the 3 high? They got an opportunity. And when he did that, what happened? Number 5 went to work. Hey, just stay patient. And they did. They allowed them to stay 3 high on the roof, and they worked underneath that, and number 5 went to work, man. It was absolute, Coach said it, it was an absolute game changer when they came out in the second half and they said, hey, you know what? We're not trying to push this thing down the field. We're going to work the double digs. We're going to work the curl flats. And that's what they did, and they were able to execute it. I think that kind of rattled PV at this point, like, okay, we got to do something. We can't stay 3 high if they're going to continue to hit us underneath. And then you got a kid that's on fire, like the quarterback and the receiver. Hey, good luck with that.
Now, Coach, we're sitting there as 21-0. You're feeling really good about Tremaine and what they're doing. You like what they're doing. The defense, and I'm going to say this just to set you up, Coach. I had made a post because I'm live tweeting during the game. And what I saw was kind of what you saw with the FAMU defense, what you saw with Jackson State defense, that swat fast, that they were just faster than South Carolina State. You just saw, and I said, okay, I'm kind of seeing Jackson State from last year. I'm seeing FAMU from the year before, kind of that swat type of football. A lot of fast guys get into the backfield. Coach, is 21-0. They're down there. Talk about that play specifically, that double reverse. When you saw it, what your initial feeling, and then talk about why you just didn't think that was the right time to call that play because of down and distance and location.
Well, coming out of halftime, you got the score on your side.
No. Go wait. Yeah, you're right. That was after halftime.
Right,
You're right. Yes. Yeah.
You got the score on your side. You just made another first down because you got kind of backed up on the kickoff. Yeah. You right at about your 35-yard line. You run a play. You run the reverse. First of all, you run the reverse, and you ain't ran that play all game. You didn't run stretch. It was a stretch play. I used to call it boss, stretch play, and give it to the back where he runs to the corner. You hadn't ran it all day. So you didn't know how the defense defended. You didn't set it up. You didn't look at how it worked. You're backed up because, sometimes trick plays go bad. You know what I mean? That's one of the things, downfall of trick plays that go bad. You give the ball to your running back who really ain't done a lot the whole game. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm going to handle the ball, I'm going to let my quarterback handle it. I'm going to let my quarterback handle on a trick play. You do not run trick plays on your side of the field. You just don't do it. You don't run them when you're 21 and up, 21-0 up. You don't when you don't have to. Now, if you down in your red zone and you want to run it, and let's say it go wrong, 9 times out of 10, you tackle them. Now they still got to go 80 yards for the touchdown. The thing about trick plays, because I'm a master at trick plays, you got to make that play look exactly of what you faking. When they ran that stretch play, it looked like the offensive line didn't even – it's like, oh, yeah, we running the reverse. Yeah, and we're going to give it to this guy, and this guy's going to give it to that guy. But it's more than that. You got to make – everybody got to make that play look like the play that the defense looks like a run. As soon as he handed the ball off to the back, the D lineman hit the running back when you watch the play. Then the running back tried to make a play and give it, man, it turned everything around. It gave them new life, okay? So when they got the ball at the 3, next play, touchdown. When you came back on the kick return, you got to get a first down now, Fred. You got to move the ball down at least 2. Sometimes scoring ain't everything, but getting you a couple first downs, get some smelling salt. We got hit real hard. Guys, But they didn't. They went 1, 2, 3 out, punted. South Carolina State got a great return on that one. They returned the ball. And as you know, in that third quarter, 9 times out of 10, they played the ball on Prairie View side of the field. Next play, bomb to the 3, touchdown, 14-21. Come down again, 1, 2, 3 out. This time, South Carolina State kept the ball and drove. Now they getting first downs, leaving your defense on the field. When you go 1, 2, 3 out, 1, 2, 3 out, you don't give your defense time to cover or get a breath. So after that, it just kind of snowballed. Then the game then Prairie View did catch back up, and that's when they started exchanging touchdowns. But by the end, man, it was over. South Carolina State started doing what you said, Coach, they could do. And once they found their feet, they were getting up. They was determined to win that football game.
Coach, I wanna play what Chennisberry said because I think it ties into what you're setting up. I'm going to play what Chennisberry said in the press conference about coming out at halftime. Okay, get that set up for us real quick because I think I want people to kind of hear that.
You know, I felt that he gave him a good rah-rah speech. I mean, he was gonna do his job for it. He was gonna make sure they were fired up.
And I think we talked about that Friday at the pregame show. I think we talked about who was going to give the better speech. Now his pregame might not have been the better speech, but his halftime speech was clearly the better speech.
And we're gonna play what Coach Chennisberry said to his team about halftime.
So I had to first of all let our young men know that I believe them. It's 60 minutes in the game, okay? And I told them we didn't play very well. That wasn't our team that went out there the first 30 minutes, but we got 30 more minutes. So I got them to believe. Never fussed at them. Just told them I believe in them, and we broke on believe. Don't leave this locker room unless you believe. But you're talking about Prairie View A&M University, really good football team. Coach Jackson is doing an outstanding job. And if you watch them, all right, they're top 5 in most defensive categories in all of college football. And they're really, really talented at what they do. And what they do is a little different. So you have to have a plan for what they do because nobody else does what they do. So we had some opportunities to be able to break down what they do and account for how they defend people. So we had to make some adjustments. So the very first thing I do when I come in the locker room, I go with the staff. I tell them, all right, make some adjustments with the staff. And then I get with the offensive staff. All right, and I talk to them and we watch, the clips and, talk about the adjustments we need to make. And then we tell our guys, man, at the end of the day, we believe in you, man. We got here for a reason. All right, we earned the right to be here. We are the MEAC champ. We earned the right to be here. And we're going to put a better display when we go back out there in the second half. All right, but do not leave out this locker room unless you believe. And our young men looked at each other and we broke down on believe. And when they came out that locker room, they had it on their mind. Again, mindset. They had it on their mind, so I'm super proud that we came away with the victory.
That is Chennisberry. No, you got to believe. You got to believe the mailman was going to deliver. See, Coach, let me tell you something, man. I don't care. Chennisberry, his presence, just because he's not a little man. And that voice and that cool demeanor, man, I can just say, you talking to young brothers, you know what I'm saying, that hear rap music and all types of things. But, man, listen, when that brother says and starts talking, man, you just kind of can feel that in your bone. So, Coach, how important was that, him resetting his team, saying, hey, still 30 more minutes of football. Coaches went back. We've seen some things that we think we can exploit. Let's play our brand of football. We are the MEAC champs. And let's go out there. Coach, talk about that type of mentality that Coach had.
Yeah, it's always important, when you hear me talk about how they socks look and all their shoes the same and all, you get a brotherhood. The thing that I've experienced, in turning programs around is exactly what he talks about, man. Brotherhood, togetherness. They believe in each other. They start looking at each other and pointing, no, I got it. I got you. You got me. And to be able to pull it all together. I mean, he's a mastermind of getting young men's mind on what's at hand, the focus. I mean, I can't say enough about Coach Chinnisberry, man. This guy is a genius, man. He's a genius. He knows both sides of the football. Those kids believe in him because he do what he say, and they came out ready, man. And then all Prairie did, I told you, they must have handed out hand grenades and dynamite as to get one kid would go out the locker. Okay, I got my dynamite. You got yours? And then they got on the field and Prairie View came out with candles and just lit it. Lit each. Coach, it was just a complete, I've never seen that before. I've watched a lot of football, man, in my years. That was incredible. It was incredible. And everything like that starts from the top. I mean, that night, guys, it was greatness just that night. You had Tremaine Jackson, hadn't been at the school 365 days. He's sitting at the national championship game, which 365 days before that, he was at another national championship game. And then you had Chinnisberry done been in the 2 national championship games. And then 2 other ones at Benedict. Man, what can you say? And I'm gonna say it, Fred, and I know you agree with it. If those was 2 white coaches battling, would they be at South Carolina State and Prairie View today, or would they be at some major institution? Somebody be on them, recruiting them. Man, them two guys, them 2 jokers, they can coach and they can get into them heads, the heads. And
Coach Fred, let's move to and we're into the second half now. We're talking about this. Tell me what you start to see. Because one of the things, and I'm going to coach, I want him to talk about this because this was great about HB Coach Corner. He literally told us Tremaine Jackson, and Tremaine was on. I think we start coaching tight. What did you see as you're watching this game and some of the things? Because one of the things that I thought, and Cam Peters was still slinging the ball, but I think there was some big plays that Prairie View just didn't try to attack that defense because I think, as they said, they were scared to lose. What did you see on that, Coach?
I felt like they stopped riding what got them to 21-0, which was the quarterback. I felt like in the second half, for whatever reason, and I don't know, and of course, hindsight is 20/20, but I felt like when they got to the second half, for whatever reason, there was no more quarterback counter. There was no more quarterback power. There was no more QB draws. They didn't ride him with any. This is the last game of the year. When that kid comes off the field, we need to carry him in the locker room at this point because it ain't nothing else left, right? And apparently he's gotten us to a 21-0 lead. And I felt like they went away from that, which allowed, again, like I said in the beginning, which allowed South Carolina State to catch up to them and be able to figure out, hey, XYZ, we're not worried about the running game unless it's him. We're not worried about the passing game. Hey, if they get something to that guy and he beats our guy, hey, let's line it up again, but we're going to ride with our guy. And for the most part, the first half, if you remember, Coach, if you remember, Mr. Campbell, the number 2 receiver for PV showed up, right? The tight end, which I've been screaming about all year, showed up. He had a touchdown. I don't think the tight end had another catch the rest of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. I don't think he had another catch after the first half.
Right? They started being very predictable. When they ran the quarterback counter the few times that they ran it in the second half, maybe 1 or 2, they lined up in the same formation. And South Carolina State recognized it and walked up. The safety, it was open, but they had knew what they was going to do. The safety, by the time that ball was snapped, that safety was the one kept making the tackle.
So there's no extra hat. You're not getting an extra hat, right? Because we're taking that away now. Because we're not worried about you throwing the ball to RW, your big game guy, because our guy's not on him, right? We're not worried about that. And again, I'm never on the hindsight 20/20. Coach Cole, you know, we are the guys with the college shirt. You can all come up with a different game plan the day after. But I just think for whatever reason, they took their foot off the gas. And I go back, Mr. Campbell, I go back to Steve Spurrier. It's not my job to stop us. It's your job to stop us. So if that game ends up 63-0, that has nothing to do with us. That has everything to do with you not being able to stop us. And we're not trying to be bad sports or anything like that. But as I'm sitting there and Bruce Eugene is calling me out about the 863 and all that, I sat there. I was patient because I'm like, you know what? It's not going to be like this second half. My boy's going to figure it out. He's going to catch up. He caught up. And Bruce Eugene, where's Bruce Eugene? Where's Bruce Eugene? I don't think we got another text the second half because at that point they had called out. Now it's tick for tack. Now I will admit, when Prairie View went back up, I was like, man, that was a heck of an effort by South Carolina State, but they're tapped out. No gas. They're done. Man, look here. They came back with more gas, took the lead, went the whole 9. And again, hats off to both programs, but Coach Cole, you're right. Neither one of these coaches, if they were at Louisiana, Tulane, and they had this type of bowl game, and there was openings at that higher level, neither one of those coaches are here today. Neither one of those coaches are here today.
Hey, Bruce, now we got, listen, guys, I tried to tell you, we got these heavy hitters in. And this guy that just popped in, SWAC champion, national champion, and he said, I asked him a question, how important was it for South Carolina State, who had been there previously? He said to me, it was very important. So, Bruce, talk about the tale of two halves, and we'll let you kind of what you saw in the first half and what you saw. And I really want you to talk about the kid Stubbulfield, who basically is the word perseverance, who had started, lost his starting job, and then came off the bench because the kid in this day and age probably would have transferred, but stayed with the program. And when this time was called, and now he's the MVP. Talk about what you saw in the first second half at Stubbulfield.
It's crazy because in the first half, remember we said on the show when we were saying what should be Prairie View's operation of attack, and I said they should come out and spread and allow Campbell to go to work, and which they did. It shocked me. First play of the game, they took a shot, and then instead of going back into their condensed formation, they stayed and spread, and he operated, and you saw a hungry Prairie View team that was eager to prove to everybody that they belong there. You saw a South Carolina State team that they played tight, they played nervous, and they were playing not to lose, pretty much. They wasn't playing to win, even in terms of their play calling early. It was like a filling out process that went too long. And I think, like you said, and I got to get Fred, I got to give it to you. Chennisberry halftime speech. You know what I'm saying? Like we always say, who was going to give the better speech and things like that. And whatever Chennis said to them at halftime, it just woke a sleeping giant. And I think in the second half, Prairie View relaxed too much. They got away from what got them there. They started, like, why would you call it reverse at that point in time when there was no need for it? You was running the ball at him. You were throwing the ball how you wanted to do it. You call it reverse. That changed the whole complexion of the game. That gave South Carolina State life. And once you did that, like you said, number 5 went to work. Defensively, they kept putting the safety on number 5. Like linebackers not getting hands on, not redirecting and things like that. And 5 kept getting to the safety. And once he got to the safety, it was night. I think right before, was that overtime? The first overtime, Stubbulfield missed 5. When 5 got to the safety, gave him an option route and broke across, and Stubbulfield threw it behind him. If he leads him, the game is over then. You know what I'm saying? So Prairie View kind of got caught in their ways and didn't make adjustments in the second half. And South Carolina State made the necessary adjustments, and they came out on top. Now, Stubbulfield, remember we talked about Stubbulfield when we said that Stubbulfield was the runner, but if I come into the game, we got to make him a passer. Well, he ran and passed. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell a kid from Texas, a kid from Houston, he was waiting for that opportunity to show Prairie View, like, you guys missed out on me, to show all of them what they missed and everything else. And I got to give it to him, man, to come in at that point in time, down like that. And, man, look, all I can say is, man, congrats, young man. You know what I'm saying? He stayed in the moment. you know, the moment wasn't too big for him, and he just played ball. What you about to say, Fred?
No, I was going to give Mr. Campbell his props. Who did you say Friday needed to do what in order for what to happen? Go ahead, Mr. Campbell. Take a bow. Take a bow.
I had two X factors. I said this. I said for South Carolina State to win this game, I had watched these guys all season long. And I said, if Jordan Smith gets a $120 and 2 touchdowns, it's going to be a problem for Prairie View because of the way Prairie View plays. And I knew that guy was going to get them going because you got to understand, South Carolina State doesn't run the ball. They had to get yards in the air. Because, again, if you look at it, they only ran, and I think this is what Prairie View only ran for 55 yards, which is unbelievable. South Carolina State only ran for 78 yards. So, again, Coach, I want to bring this back to you because I want to move us into overtime. When you have a game plan where you had and I'll say this, because Coach Quinn let us know that we stopped everybody from running but Cam Peters. So and listen, Bruce, let me tell you something. People watch this show. Maybe the offensive coordinator heard what you said about spreading those guys out because you talked about it in that Jack State game about opening up, spreading them out. Guess what they do in the Celebration Bowl? Now, Coach, we go in here. Momentum has shifted back and forth. Prairie View still has never been down, okay, because South Carolina State had the time. What happens in overtime, and what do you think went wrong for Prairie View not being able to close the deal in overtime? And especially, I want you to talk about the pressure on the kicker because he had missed an early one. And I told Coach Cole, Coach said, it's not going to be a problem. I said, Coach, in a championship game, every point counts. I told him that early. But, Coach,
I'm sorry. That drive right there, I was really upset with the OC from Prairie View because he played for the field goal from the beginning. He played for the field goal from the beginning. He never played to get the first down. He never played to even try to score a touchdown. They played safe for the field goal from the beginning. And I sat there and I said, this kid is going to miss this. This is not the time to put a freshman like that in that moment. I don't care how many kicks he made. You on national television in front of all those people in the championship game to win it all and go home. And you know what I'm saying? Like you said, he goes, first of all, he called the timeout. So now you froze him a little bit. Great job, Chinnis. You know what I'm saying? But then he come in, he overthought it. You know what I'm saying? I felt like at that point in time, keep the ball in Cam's hand. Keep it in his hand. He done got you this far. He done took you there. He had thrown for 400. Keep it in his hands. Let him look. You didn't carry us all season. You done got to this point. My bottom dollar is going on him. Like I can tell you right now today, if that was me, and where there was Coach Williams or Spears, if we get to that point, they gonna live and die with Bruce Eugene. Because that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to be willing that if it goes great, guess what? Great call, Coach Jackson. If it goes bad, hey, you got to be willing to stand there with Cam and say, hey, that was my decision. I made that and everything else. But to put that kicker in that position at that point in time, I just thought that was the worst decision ever, the worst play calling ever on that drive.
All right, Coach, come on now. So tell them what you're thinking, Coach Cole. You come in here in overtime. Hey, man, and I want to just kind of set something up. Hey, man, Andre Dennis, the second receiver, he's cooking. Rockwell is cooking. Because what happened, Coach Fred, and I'm just going to say what you did. They had 12 traveling with Rockwell. Dennis was like, hey, I'm about to take this game over and make a big play because he's the second receiver who have 100 yards. So, Coach, we're into overtime, and let's talk about some of the conservative play calling and things that were kind of happening before we got to the sudden death.
Well, you go in, you always have in your toolbox different type of 2-point plays. You have 2 or 3 of them always that you work on them every day, all the time. So you already know what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. I'm aggressive like Eugene when they had a time to, when they stopped them and then they came down when they missed the field goal. I felt that they settled as well. I wouldn't have settled. I would have still been trying to push and get another first down and getting the kid as close as possible to the field goal. So my thing would have been a lot different. I'm better under pressure anytime. You know what I mean? Because I'm not afraid. I know what I'm gonna do. I've been, not necessarily been there, but I work on all these plays in practice. You know what I mean? And sometimes you can go a whole season and never use them, but you always gotta work on them because you never know when you need them. And they turn into regular plays that you call. I thought they was grasping for plays down there, man. They got very, very conservative. But I've been there where the kids say I need the ball to be on the left hash, and we put it on the right hash, and he missed right off to the right. This kid said he likes to kick the ball in the middle, and he's never missed in the middle except for that night. So, that's just stuff that happens, but you got to be prepared for those moments. And I know, Fred, as a coach that you practice different situations. You have situational practice that you ready to rock and roll.
Hey, Coach, I want you to really, because listen, here's the thing. And Fred, I want you to talk about this too. And Bruce, you can talk about it because you do coach now, but as a player, we hear this about they coach tight, right? And stuff like that. But a lot of us regular people don't know what that means. I'm watching it and I can see, but Coach, I want you to, from a coaching standpoint, to really tell us what that means. Is it a mentality? Do you feel it in your heart? And first of all, do the players feel it too that you're coaching tight, which makes them tight? So, Coach, talk about that, and then we'll go around the horn and talk about if you've had a moment that has happened to you and what caused you to lose that game. So, Coach, let's start with you because you brought that up, and I think that's just such a great point because we all kind of saw it. And I want to say this, because Tremaine Jackson has that bravado. We're a dog. We know Mr. No Recess. Don't give a darn. You know what I'm saying? We here. We don't care. We ain't the old Prairie View. But it seemed, and I'm not saying this but it seemed like it was the old Prairie View. Like, I don't know if we're supposed to be here right now. That's where it kind of felt. Are we supposed to be here? When you saw the Jackson States who had that bravado with T.C. Taylor, or you saw Willie Simmons who was like, hey, man, we're going to run a reverse pass and win the game on it. You know what I mean? Because of that bravado, and Chennisberry and Buddy Pugh, you saw this confidence of these winning teams. That even I'll give Broderick Fobb, Sam Washington, that you saw the confidence in their team. So, Coach, talk about that. That tightness.
Well, it comes down to experience and being in these situations and recognizing these situations. And sometimes, you start calling stuff that either you hadn't done all game or all year, trying to find, or you come to as a coordinator, I can't be the one to screw it up. Throw the ball when you should run it, or put the kid in a situation that he's not normal in, and then he throw the ball or he throw an interception or get a fumble calls. You can't call a game to lose a game. You know what I mean? You got to call it on what you see and what's there and all the preparation you done before there. Against Fred and Bruce Eugene, I don't like the spread. The spread to me is almost like running the option because I'm 2x2, I'm 3x1. You don't have no flanker offense. You don't have no give me 1 yard offense. You know what I mean? Where you're bringing in 2 tight ends and 2 backs or 3 linemen and you're going trips tight. You run the bunch. We used to have this bunch play called let me go back, Spacey.
We took our spacer.
I know y'all got it from me, Coach. But and the thing of it is the quarterback drops back, and he looks. He either gonna hit the slant or hit the hitch. But what he's got to do to make the play work is pump it. He's either gonna give it to him or he gonna. And what that do to defense, Fred? Everybody stop. While your kids find spots, and then he gets back and he find 1, 2, or 3, which is a great 5-6 yard play. You're only getting in them zones. You got to have those ace hole plays in the hole. I remember Bruce Eugene, they got down to the damn 3 on us, 3 or 4. They brought no back with tight ends. And this big old joker gonna run a quarterback counter and walked in. Who expect you to run a quarterback counter with a throwing quarterback? You know what I'm saying? So that's That's the things that you just got to have that. And I just don't think on both teams, one time South Carolina shift 5 times, shift there, shift there, shift over there, and the play still didn't work.
Yeah, and
You know
overtime.
what I'm saying?
That
I was
overtime.
looking like, damn, are these guys prepared for this time? Coach, they've been up and down the field all day and couldn't get 3 yards. 3 yards. And how they got in was on a controversial play. Neither team got 3 yards. 3 yards.
Coach Fred, tight. Talk about it, what that means. You played. You've also coached it. You've been in these big games where I've seen Alcorn kind of have some of those where y'all were rolling, then the game gets kind of funny against North Carolina A&T. Talk about your time. We've seen it even with Alcorn, unfortunately.
We made that 2-point conversion. They said it wasn't a 2-point conversion, but Chris Blair caught that ball. But that's neither here nor there right now. That's a whole nother show. But to what Coach Cole said, as a player, as a receiver, I'm telling Bruce, throw it to me at that point. I'm not tight, right? As a coach, I can go back to a situation in Hutch Community College, and we're playing Dodge City, and we get a big turnover, and we got a chance to take the game over, Coach. And my passing background told me to throw the ball, but everything around me said run it. And I ran it, and we got stopped for a 3-yard loss. Momentum is gone at that point, right? Now, when we get to coaching tight now, I don't understand that part because I'm like, as Prairie View, they ain't stopped the quarterback counter yet. They ain't stopped quarterback power yet. I ain't going to be scared to run that. I'm going to put the ball in number 4's hand, like Coach Eugene said, and spread everybody out. And if we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't, right? But to go through all these 87 shifts, that to me is overthinking it. And Coach, I think me and you talked about it Friday night. We don't think nowadays that simple is good. I can run an offense with 10 personnel, and if I got one guy, I can make it look like 11. I can make it look like 20 personnel. And I can control the game that way. But in our minds now, we've got to be fancy. We got to be John Gruden, and we got to do all this stuff to where we kind of overthink it. There's no reason after that first stop that Prairie View got in overtime, when you get the ball back, there's no reason for 4 not to run that ball 3 straight times and then you kick it. There's no reason. They ain't stopped 4 yet in the first half. Let's get the ball to number 4, and then we're going to work from there, right? But again, and I want to go back to something, Mr. Campbell, I saw in the comments, as I told you Saturday, and I think it was Fearless Ace or something like that. Mr. Campbell, we need some lottery numbers from you, man. This is 2 weeks in a row. You've been point blank on with what needs to happen, and it's happened, right? And I'm not the only one that recognizes it. As I seen it in the chat, Mr. Campbell, we need some lottery numbers out you, brother. Period.
Well, let me tell you something. But hold on. But let me tell you what has happened to me. When you do a show with a coach, and again, I think a lot of people don't know my background. I used to be a sports agent. So I used to have to find players and make sure they were on the right team. So I used to have to know teams, rosters and things like that. But what I learned from Coach Cole, and I'm talking about, we're sitting there, me and Coach Cole have been to several games. And all I hear him saying, they should have did this. They should have did this. This player should be doing this. So I started looking at the game totally different from a holistic. I started looking at matchups because in the end, and you guys know this, Bruce, you talk about this, the game is about matchups. It's not 11 on 11. It's 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1.
Mr. Campbell,
so
for
me,
that, Mr. Campbell.
So what a lot of people do, they look at it like, a lot of people play video game and they see all the people moving around. What you need to do is to look at, and Coach Cole started teaching me, all that is Christmas parties over there. This play right here is for this guy and only this guy. Watch that guy. Even when we talked about the defense, I had Coach Cole on and Coach Fred had you. I said, tell me why this defense failed with FAMU. He said, Coach, let me tell you. And I had to bring him on. So that's the reason why for me, when I watch, and one of the things too, and Coach noted, We watch all these games. And I make sure that because we're going to come on and say HB Coach Corner, and I'm not a coach. And listen, man, I got one thing I'm not going to be like a lot of people that just talk. You know what I'm saying? And you can be loud and be wrong. I got a loud voice. I want to be right. But that goes to Coach Cole and watch and talking to you guys. So, Bruce, I want to swing it to you because you've been on both sides of it. Because let me tell you what I want to do, and this is going to set it up. I want you guys to talk about this. And then I found the video of that last play. And we're going to break that down, okay? After Bruce, you go. And I'm talking about the winning play for South Carolina State and what you guys saw there and how they won the game. Okay?
And we need to talk about the losing play for Prairie View, because why would you roll them out with no option to even? But we gonna get to that when we get to that.
But when we get to that, you're going to see a guy in the back of the end zone wide open.
Yeah, I know, but you can see that play. His whole mindset was because the previous play, he was like, I could have got to the edge. They feel like he could have got to the edge. So you're going to call it with no option, but we're going to talk about that. In terms of being tight, your players can feel you being tight based on one, as soon as the game is over with, as coaches, what you normally do. Let's go, baby, let's go. Hey, we got another quarter. Hey, we got to play 8 quarters. We got to play 10 quarters. They feel that energy, you know. And if it's goes into overtime and you look at your coach and your coach is just, then they're like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Then when your coach walk in that huddle and he unsure, he look at the 300 plays he got on his play call sheet, you know, and he trying to decide what we gonna do. And then I guarantee you, at least 4 to 5 times in that huddle, we gonna run this. No. We gonna go with this. Nah, you know what? We gonna go with this. Nah, you know what? Let's go with this. Guess what? I'd have had one play. We're going to run quarterback ISO 3 times in a row. Quarterback ISO, quarterback counter, quarterback ISO, quarterback counter. That's all it should have been. Put the ball in your guy's hand. Also, and coach, I don't know if you know, like we talking about quick game and everything else, there was not one hitch thrown in that game. And the corners were getting up out of there. The nickels was playing 12 yards off.
Yeah.
And we never threw not one hitch. We never went with a flat concept. We never went with a go route on the outside, just run the speed out in the slot, just to play pitch and catch. There was never any of that.
They was throwing bubble screens, but they was throwing bubble screens from one hash to the numbers.
The other hat, coach.
Make it a long handoff. Throw it to him right there, maybe 4 or 5 off the tackle, and let him just hit the sideline. Right? It's a different. And let me just say this: when we won the Ohio Valley Conference Championship, I ran 5 trick plays in that game, and all of them worked. Because to me, going into the championship game, man, I'm landing on the damn line. We going to get it. But I could say I was the team behind. We were down 34-19 in halftime. End up winning 46-44. So you know, being tight, you know, some guys it's just like that, man. And I afraid that South Carolina State been there and Prairie View was going for the first time.
And I can tell you this: if you watch Cam, because the thing I get from Cam, like when we had his dad on there, you can tell Cam's a confident kid. You can tell that game was about proving he belonged there. That's how he played that game. So when they got hot in that 4th quarter and overtime, like in the 4th quarter when they got hot when they needed to score, what did Cam do? Cool, calm, collective. He drove them down. They got the touchdown they lead. They kept the lead. They stayed up and everything. And right when South Carolina State had just hit him for a quick touchdown, he came right back. Boom. He ran, I think it was like a corner route or out route. Dude catch it good up the sideline and everything goes. Great throw. You know what I'm saying?
You guys, you know, and did y'all know that Prairie View went into overtime with 3 timeouts?
Yes. Coach, that's what I'm saying. That's where you really, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it's not knock on the coaching, but that's where that your ego caught in, like you say, that dog mentality and everything else. We became puppies when it got hot. We became puppies when it got hot, because guess what? South Carolina State when they turned that switch on, and I gotta say my boy Jonathan Williams, I gotta give him love. You know what I'm saying, G man, when it got to that point where he caught the beam on them, he made some calls. He made some calls like that throw Stubbulfield made up the seam on 3rd and 15. You know what I'm saying? That was a throw. The other throw he made on that dig route on 3rd and 18. You know what I'm saying? Like those were throws, and those were throws that were called. Like he knew, okay, they're gonna get up out of there. Let's push that slot receiver, push that safety vertical, that dig route come from the outside guy. Those were great calls. You know what I'm saying? And Stubbulfield executed. Yeah. But on the Prairie View side of it, man, you got to live and die with 4. And that was it. And then he's a senior, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to live. And let me tell you something. For the rest of his life, he going to think in his head, why coach didn't give it to me at that point? Why didn't let me get it? Why didn't? Because that's your last game. You'll never play at Prairie View again. So now guess what? You're going to relive every moment during that game that went wrong that you wish you could do over. You're going to relive that.
Let me say something. Do y'all understand what y'all getting here tonight? The doors of the church are open. Now, see, this is the bishop part of me, Fred. Do y'all understand what you are getting? A good gospel HBCU football. Coach, ain't nobody, Coach Cole, ain't nobody did this. So, and even you got people in the chat. I didn't know that. Thanks for saying that. See, this is what HBCU Coaches Corner about. Now, listen, guys.
Hold on, Campbell, hold on. Before you go on, I want to tell you from the flip side of it. I've been in that situation where, as a player, you play tight. And I'm about to give you a prime example. Coach, you're gonna remember this. Bayou Classic in New Orleans, we lost 44-41. I threw an interception at the end where I tried to force it into a guy, and I had another guy wide open. But what had happened was the play before, that same guy that was wide open dropped the ball. Curl route, hit his chest, bounced off. So now, in my head, I'm thinking, damn. You know what I'm saying? It's 3rd down. It's 3rd and 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he runs around, he wide open. Instead of me trusting and going with that, I tried to force it into one of my other guys that I know if I get it close to him, he going to catch it. And I overthrew it. You know what I'm saying? And that was those moments where you said, you play tight. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of you just trusting what you've been the work you put in, I went against the grain. You know what I'm saying? I went against, you know what I'm saying, what I was taught to do. So you have those moments. But man, it's I think it's tougher. I think it's tougher as a coach because you feel like you let everybody, you let yourself down, you let the team, you let the kids down, you know what I'm saying, you let the university down. Like it's more as a player, guess what? Cam gonna have another chance to play football after this. You know what I'm saying? God willing, he's going to get an opportunity to play more football, so he'll have a chance to learn from that moment. But as a coach, you'll never have that game back again. You'll never have that team back again. You know what I'm saying? You may never get back to that moment. So now you got to live with that thought and that for the rest of your life.
All right, guys, I'm getting ready to bring up this play. And let me see.
Church has got to make, hey, guys, we've worked these situations before, man. Relax. Chill out. We good. Especially if we got the ball last. Hey, man, relax. We good. Hey, this is what we're doing. Our number one play, we work this every Thursday. We work this every Friday. You guys know what to do. Hey, quick reminder, make sure you're outside, inside the tackle leg, outside, whatever. Hey, make sure, quarterback, get your shoulders downhill now, either downhill to throw or downhill to run. Nice and easy. All right, ready? Break. Let's go. But I'm sure everybody was like, we got to have it. Let's go. Tight.
Yeah.
Coach, let me ask you a question. How much time, I know you got to, John, I hope Bruce and Fred can hang on. How much more time we got with you, Coach? Because I know you said you had a hard out.
What time is it?
10:36.
Yeah, I got to be leaving now.
Okay. Well, Coach, listen. Hey, Bruce and Fred, can you hang on? Because a couple more topics we want to talk about. You guys got time to hang on with me?
I'm here.
Okay. Coach, and listen. Listen. We had you here for what we need you for. Great breakdown of the game. I mean, I think nobody else on the internet has done this type of breakdown. Coach Cole has another appointment that he has to go to. We got a couple of topics that we noticed. Hey, man, we got coaches leaving and going, players leaving and going. We're going to have Bruce Eugene, going to have Coach Fred. We're going to talk about it. Coach Cole, tell us what you got before you roll out of here.
What I got to do or what?
No. Your last word before you leave.
Oh, man, it's been great. It's been a
Don't
great
tell him what you
year.
gotta do, Coach. Don't tell him.
I think we got one more show with all these coaches changes, and then we're gonna take a break for a while. But I want to thank everybody for continuing to follow us, and I look forward to next week. I still got Andrew Body. I still got Chennisberry on my list. I've been in communication with them. We're supposed to have Chennis. Well, we're gonna get Chennisberry on the national championship coach, and that's where we are. Thank you. Handle it, Coach Campbell, like I know you can. And thanks to guests, Fred, my main man, and also Eugene. Hope everything work out for you.
Thanks,
Later.
Coach.
There he is. That is Coach Cole. Hey, man, listen. I'm just going to tell y'all something, man. I don't care what nobody's saying. Hey, man, listen, coaches. Did y'all hear this breakdown, this intelligence, this football, my boy T-Bo say, FBI football intelligence that we just had? See, listen, guys, and y'all know I love everybody, but I'm going to say this again. When you got people that play this game at a high level, it just hit different. It just hit different. That breakdown right there, again, ESPN couldn't do it any better and things like that. Well, guys, listen, I want to move on because once again, the portal has struck, and I wanted to get your guys. Well, Coach Fred, you might have to talk about overall, but Bruce Eugene, because you are a superstar quarterback, and it would have been amazing, the portal. Thank God it wasn't, because we might have lost you from Grambling. But it's been announced, and Andrew Body, matter of fact, you know what? Let me see if I can pull that up. It's going into the portal. And, I'm excited and I'm sad at the same time. I'm happy for my nephew, and I want him, to go, like I say, as they say, the greener pastures. But I also was just kind of hoping, and again, it was, a hope that, you just kind of hope that he would have stayed. But, he's got to do what's best for his family. Let's pull this up right here. Give me 1 second, guys. Just kind of pull this up and see if we can get that. I'm going to share that. This is Andrew Body and his. There we go. And let me see if I can. There you go. So, this is Andrew. I'm going to read this real quick. Godspeed. And he's got Romans 12, verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but he transformed. Let me get my glasses. Hold on 1 second. Glasses. Thought I could read it, but let's see here. Here we go. Transform the reviewing of your mind, then you will be able to test and approve of God's will, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory to God for allowing me to play the sport I love, for shaping, preparing me, for continually opening doors, and for giving me opportunities to glorify his name through my platform. To Hornet Nation, everyone from the president to the custodial staff, thank you. I'm deeply grateful to every individual who's played a role in my journey at Alabama State. You helped me grow and truly understand what it means to be a Hornet. To everyone who has supported and followed my journey, thank you. Your love, encouragement, belief in me has never gone unnoticed and means more than I can express. I am deeply grateful to Coach Eddie Robinson for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to attend his alma mater, an experience that shaped me both on and off the field and helped me prepare for life beyond the game. I also thank Coach Barnett for his guidance, discipline, and unwavering push for excellence, which played a significant role in my growth as both a player and a man. With that being said, I will be entering the transfer portal to pursue what God has prepared for the next chapter of my career. Uno out, AB1. I'm just going to say, man, it hurts because I look at the Bruce Eugenes, the Darrell Kent, the Robert Kents, the Sean Gregory's that have come and finished. And I salute this young man, but I also want to say this also means that you can get your foundation from our HBCUs, which allows you, and that's what we always say, to go be great. Bruce, what do you think about Andrew, leaving, and what do you think, where do you think his feeling is at as he moves on? Because I'm assuming, and this is just I don't think he's going to another FCS school. I'm sure there's a Power 4 or Group of 5 school that's looking at him.
So my thoughts is, his his people probably been in touch with some other people, that say, hey, let's get Andrew out. You know what I'm saying? We can have Andrew here and everything else. And, in this day and age of the NIL, everybody's gonna chase that bag, especially if, you feel like I put forth my best effort here and I feel like I'm better and bigger than here, then you're gonna chase that bag. Back then for us, like I said, who knows if the NIL was back then when we were playing? Who knows, if we would have stayed. I'm glad it wasn't back then, in some cases, because again, it gave me a platform because of Grambling. It gave me a true survival kit, and it just I was able to leave a legacy that, I can look back and my kids can look back and be like, wow, like my daddy did something great. Being that this is second, he was from Texas Southern to, Alabama State. And now, what if it don't work out the next level? What if it don't work out the next school? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of things that you playing Russian roulette with, because now, he had 1 year left, right?
Yep, 1 year.
So this move has to be a move that is you know what I'm saying, it's all in. It's end all be all. So it has to be something that works out. So that last year, it's tough, but I'm glad he got a belief in himself. You know what I'm saying? I like the kid. I think he can play. You know what I'm saying? From watching him, I like some of the things he do, and I also see some things that he need to work on. So I hope wherever he goes next, that his development continues. That'll help him get prepared to be able to play on Sundays.
Coach Fred, maybe you could talk in general. I know you don't want to talk specifically, but just in this era NIL, what you've had players leave and go, and you've seen them go to different levels and things. What do you think about it? And what do you think about, is this now where we just got to understand that, and maybe we use it as reverse, you can come to us, we build you up, play with us, get the experience, and then move on, potentially? What are your thoughts?
So that lady with the same last name of mine just texted me and told me, pick my head up, stop rocking. This is a soapbox, Mr. Campbell, Coach Eugene, that I will forever jump on, right? I have nothing but love and respect for Andrew and his family. We've kind of went back and forth at times, but, nothing but respect, friendly fire. But Mr. Campbell, I have a different feeling about this, because to me, I just think that, how do I put this nicely? I just think that we're chasing 6 months worth of whatever it is, right, for an opportunity. As when, I can stand on this NIL soapbox for 12 hours and tell you how it's torn the fabric of what it is that we all know what college football is, right, to be. And then I think for our kids at our level, I think we see above our heads, and we all want that, right? I know coaches that are younger than me in this game that all think that their next job is they're going to get to the Nick Saban bag. And that's just not how it goes, right? I feel like the Chris Blairs, I feel like the Claude Cherloos, those kids made their opportunity, and now they're on NFL rosters, right? If you're not leaving Mr. Campbell University to go to Mr. Eugene's university to be a draft pick, your name called, what are you doing? If that's your goal. If that ain't your goal, that ain't your goal, right? I get it. But, and I'm not talking about Andrew in general. I'm just saying the amount of kids that we have hitting the portal that are trying to go get off-campus housing, that are trying to go get $2,000 a month for the next 6 months. Who's advising them? Who's telling them the longevity of what a Bruce Eugene gained from being at Grambling? who's telling them the longevity of what you gain from being at Florida A&M throughout rather than going to UMass? If you go into UMass, you might as well stay at Florida A&M. I mean, if we're being honest, and I'm going to leave it alone because, again, that's a whole nother soapbox, Mr. Campbell. But I love Andrew. I think he can really play. But then I also think that, you know, there's some durability issues that some of the bigger schools may be a little, you know, skeptical on. I don't think he's going FCS to FCS.
Right.
But
No.
if you're leaving Bama State to go to Charlotte, what do we gain? That's
Right.
that's the only thing I'm asking in that
Yeah.
situation. And I'll
And-
step off this soapbox respectfully.
And
Go ahead,
I'm
Bruce.
gonna say this much: there have been some kids in SWAC and MEAC that were able to make that jump to, you know, to the FBS level. You know, like Grambling had the defensive end that made the jump. They had the linebacker that made the jump and everything else. So there are guys that can make that jump, but you got to also, at your position, let's be realistic. If I'm gonna go from being a starter here to being the backup over here just for a couple of dollars, no, I'm losing money on the other end because guess what? I go from playing 70, 80 reps to 20, 25 reps. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll find you wherever you are. You know, we have a lot of us that have done it. So they'll find you wherever you are. You know, but again, this day and age, like you said, everybody trying to chase the $2,000 a month. You know, I ain't know what $2,000. I had my refund check. You know,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But you know, the $2,000 a month stipend or this NIL deal. Now we didn't have all that. You know what I'm saying? But again, I wish.
My guy, my co-host on the other show, Blue, him and my other guy, they did a breakdown and the numbers, Mr. Campbell, and I think you've heard those numbers, the numbers of guys that leave this level, not just HBCU, but leave this level, transfer portal to go up. The amount of reps that those kids are getting or playing is unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
we had an unbelievably bad, you know, we had
Yeah.
a linebacker that was almost 100 tackle type guy, and someone told him to get in, and he went to a place to where he just became a special teams guy. I gotta believe in my heart, in everything within me, if he stays at the school that I was at, and he does what he did the year before, he goes to the Combine, the Legacy Bowl, and puts on as Claude did, as CB did, and does what he's supposed to do, I got to believe that he gets an opportunity.
He definitely gets an opportunity.
But I'm living off campus for 6 months. I'm getting this amount. I'm getting 4 pair of shorts as to when I'm at Grambling. I'm only getting 2. That's what it's worth. That's
Why
what
we
it's
got to
worth.
get 2?
Hey, man, I'm a free agent, man. That wasn't a jab at G. That wasn't a jab at the G. But, you know, we got to understand. And then the other thing that's crazy, Mr. Campbell, and again, I'll step back off this box, is the number of kids that I see hitting the portal that say, if you want to talk to me, get in contact with Campbell Sports Agency.
Right.
What?
Yeah. That's the most ridiculous thing. Yeah. I've seen, and again, they're not certified. These NIL in the dark guys. And I've seen, because I've been in a feed that I've been just dropping all the HBCU guys that are getting in the pool, and I'm just tracking who's advising them. And I'm seeing these guys, and then I go look at their background, and I'm like, this is crazy. But I want to say something, and I want to be clear. And I think we all support Andrew. We all love Andrew. I know Andrew personally. I know his family, a wonderful family. My pain is not for Andrew because I want him to go do what's best for him. In the end, he is the person that makes it. I'm excited for the fact that he was able to show that we have players on this level that can play on any level. So I'll take the positive on that. I'm hurt because I grew up watching the Bruce Eugenes, the Steve McNairs, the Walter Paytons, the Jimmy Smiths, and all those guys, the Quinn Grays,
Cortez Hankins.
there you go, that did it on our level and made it happen. So, and again, this is my soapbox. Once again, this is why I hate the white power structure of sports. They only care about our athletes when they can use us. They don't want us to go to school there. They don't want us to have no book clubs or no anything there. But as long as they can take advantage of it, and again, you got to take advantage of it back, which Andrew will do. But that's what I'm saying, because they know where the talent is at. So again, for a player like Andrew, who is exciting, who is somebody who represents the conference, represents the family, because what I prayed and I knew wasn't going to happen, because I wanted him to come back and Chris Barnett and them say, we going crazy with this offense. Yes. And we're going to make you an NFL pick. We don't give a damn about anything else. We're going to make this offense to make you an NFL pick, which I believe he could have done at Alabama State. So that's my thing. I want to be clear. We're not criticizing because he's a business person. He's a young man, his family. So we understand. Listen, don't get up in the poverty. And everybody's not broke, okay? People make business decisions. We do have kids that are poor and things like that. But I want kids to do it for the business. And this for him is good business. And I respect it. And we all love him for it. And we're going to cheer for him wherever he goes. Now, one of the things I did here interesting, and again, not saying that they told me this, but I did find it fascinating. Coach Huff, who is an HBCU guy,
is that Memphis?
But yeah, is that Memphis? He's in that SWAC footprint, played Jackson State, and it was like, hey man, he get Andrew Bynum and get Armand Miller. That would be an interesting duo because he's seen them, on the footprint. So I would be interested to see where Andrew lands, and I would hope that he would go to a coach like Coach Huff, who will understand his abilities and who's a great coach. So that's my thing.
He'll have to, but I'm like you say, I'm sad for HBCU football because we lost a good one. You know what I'm saying? We know what I'm saying. We lost a good one to wherever he decides to go. But as a product of HBCU football, I'm always looking back to see who's the next one up. Like who's the next one that's gonna carry the HBCU torch? Who's the next one that, you know what I'm saying, when he say Alabama State come to town, the first thing they say, even if they don't have a dog in the race, I'm going to see Andrew, I'm going to see Bodie. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to see him. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was when I was playing. There was a lot of people that didn't even go to Grambling, but they saw offensively what we were doing. They said, we want to see it live. So that's how Andrew Bodie was. You know what I'm saying? That's how he was. And that's why I said, man, we losing the good one and everything else. And I hope there's another, I'm not just saying Andrew Bodie, but I hope there's another quarterback that's going to take advantage of their opportunity now to become that next headliner. I'm looking forward to seeing who's that going to be. You know what I'm saying? I have one at Locust Grove, though.
Listen.
If anybody needs a quarterback, I have one at Locust Grove now. If you haven't seen, go look up Armand Parker. Coach. I have one at Locust Grove now, and he's special. Special. And calling his own plays. And I want to say something. Listen, man. EA, you my guy. I get it. And nobody listen. I can have my own personal feeling and still respect the business. My point, I get it. So he's been hurt. Go get the money. I would probably tell him the same thing. He's my son. Nobody's questioning that. I'm telling you for the love, like Bruce was saying, you got to understand something. If Bruce Eugene, I don't think people understand. And see, Bruce, this is why I'm glad you're on here. I need y'all to go look at some of those Bayou classes with Bruce Eugene. They're on video. Our matchup against Robert Kent, our Jackson State matchup.
So go look at. They're on YouTube, and you go see. This is what I was in the stands and saw these young men. And man, when you see that, and that's what I'm saying. That's the part I'm hope is that we're going to lose from the history of the game. Those matchups of our great players that come through there, like a Steve. I remember Steve McNair's last game in the vet. That was nuts.
I watched Steve McNair versus our guy from Grambling. I forgot they call it Pearl Harbor. When Steve McNair, I think he threw for like 600, and then oh man, I forgot the quarterback from Grambling. Man, my name. Oh man, sorry. Don't be mad at me, G-Man. Don't be mad, G-Man. It's gonna come to my head. But he was the quarterback coach at Grambling recently, and then he went to Pine Bluff. and everything else. He's from I think he's from Mobile.
How many did he throw again? How many? What's the yardage with him?
He threw for like 450, 500. McNair threw for like 600, and then ran for like another 2. You know what I'm saying? Like it was one of those games at Grambling where it was like Pearl Harbor. You know what I'm saying? So you live for those matchups. You know, when I went against Robert Kent when he came to Grambling, you know what I'm saying? And we went back and forth when T.C. Taylor was at wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? When Robert Kent sent T.C. Taylor to receiver and was throwing him the ball against us, you know what I'm saying, in that game when it was a shootout when I threw for about 450 and ran for like another 200. You know what I'm saying? Like those matchups filled the stadiums because they wanted to see that. They wanted to see those matches, like me and Quincy Reshaw in the Bayou Classic, me and Terrence Leaving the Bayou Classic. You know what I'm saying? Like those type, like they wanted to see those type games because you had 2, you know what I'm saying, great quarterbacks that was getting ready to play. So now it's like, okay, let's go watch it. We don't have it like that anymore. And he was a headliner.
And you know what? And I'm telling you what's crazy. And I always use that delineation because I always use the before prime out front. We did when Alabama State rolled into Jackson, and you had Jacoby Morgan, and you had Andrew Bonney. I can't remember in the last 5 years where you had a quarterback matchup like that.
Yeah,
where you just saw guys making plays at the quarterback position. That was just crazy. And I'm talking about game-winning plays on both sides. We're not going to have that because guys are never going to be there to have that. That was a magical moment that we've only had once in 5 years. Because the guys leaving and maybe we'll do another show about this. And I've talked about you, Bruce, and I taught Sean Gray. I like what you said. We can't even find quarterbacks, but shout out to Cam Peters. Well, guys can't even throw for 300 yards anymore now. It's that struggle.
That was in half.
You know what I'm saying? So for Cam Peters to go for 432 is, you know what I'm saying? Because of the skill set that you guys had that these quarterbacks don't have now. Coach Fred, I'll let you wrap it up and then we'll move on because I know I don't want to hold you guys too long because a couple of things I do want to talk about because of the coaching thing. Got anything else, Coach Fred, on this?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, it's not cut up and sent to the bodies as hate or anything like that. Because I've talked to Mom, me and Andrew, we've gone back and forth when he showed up at Media Day with that turtleneck. We've talked about that, right? So I feel like there's a connection, but I don't want people to spin it as I'm hating or coming off as, the angry guy, get off my lawn.
No, and you're not.
But at the end of the day, if we're leaving to go to start at Arkansas, that's completely different and understandable. But if we're leaving to go to
Arkansas State,
I mean, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And to your point, Mr. Campbell, a lot of if you want to, reach me, touch base with my agent, that's the barber.
Yeah.
That's the barber. And I saw one kid and I hit him up. I won't say his name. I'm like, okay, so what is he charging you? 3%. 3% of what? Whatever I get. Who's saying you're getting NIL?
Yeah.
That's not a given, right? But 3%, and I'm not a math guy, Mr. Campbell, maybe you are, 3%, and these people are telling you they're going to give you $2,000 a month. I mean, what you got?
Man, listen, I will say this, and I'm going to do a whole show on this. And I'm going to say this, and Scott, and for the women, please, I'm not being disrespectful. But I had to explain to Scotty, when you throw parties and do stuff like this, and I used to tell Scotty, are you doing it for the money or for the P? I'll say that for the P. Most of these guys are doing it for the P. So they want their name. I'm an agent. I'm a this. I'm a that. But I tell people, if you get the money, baby, you get the P. You see what I'm saying? So be about people that about their business, not about the P. And these guys want to say, I'm an NIL agent and I represent this guy for the P. I'm telling you, I've been there, done that. I know what it is. So we'll move on that. So, guys, one of the next things I want to talk about, which I think is really big news, Van Malone, former coach at Kansas State, is now the head coach at we go. Is now the head coach at Hampton. What do you guys think about? Now, I'll tell you this a little fun fact. Van Malone, which is now out there, he actually applied for the Florida A&M job, and he had been looking to get into the HBCU space. He's a guy that played at the University of Texas. been in the NFL. What do you guys think about Van Malone getting the job at Hampton? And also, Van, let me just tell you, if you need 2 great guys on your staff, here go 2 guys that you can go ahead and hire. Coach Fred, what do you think about that hire, and what do you think about overall Hampton, what they're doing?
I mean, his background, from what I've read, he seems to be a very good coach. The only thing I would ask, from Coach Malone and the people he bring in is just kind of, understand and respect the space. I think a lot of people see this as a springboard, and it's not that, man. It's a lot of great coaching. It's a lot of great players. We just got to make sure that we're respecting the space and ready to go on. And I'm reading some of these comments, Mr. Campbell. I don't know if you see them, man, but we got over 120 people in here. Make sure you hit the like button, man. Obviously, you're liking the content. But Coach Malone, coming from Kansas State, he's got to be able to adjust quickly. We're in the second half of this thing. One signing day is gone. One more to come. So, he's got to correct it quickly. He's got to get on campus, get them guys who have already went home for Christmas, get those guys not to go in the portal, and be ready to run with the staff as soon as, I would say, next week after Christmas, because the portal opens up on the 2nd. And you got to be able to make contact with those people right now, Mr. Campbell. Hey, look, stay. I'm here. This is what I'm bringing. This is what we're doing.
Bruce, what do you think about the hire, and what do you think about, what challenges he's going to have? Because Van has not coached at a HBCU level. You know what I mean? He's, all PWIs, Mississippi State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Tulsa, Texas A&M, et cetera, et cetera. What is he going to have to learn really quickly about coaching at Hampton, where everything will be nice like it was out there at Kansas State, where they had that big donor that built that new field for them, and everybody got ice cream machines and all that stuff.
The indoor.
Oh, yeah. So first, that quarterback name was Kendrick Nord.
Yep.
Kendrick Nord was the quarterback when him and Steve McNair went to war with each other. But what it is first of all, what are you going to tell the parent when you go sit in that room and tell them, why should they send them to you? Because like you said, now you got to remember, you don't have them facilities you had at Kansas State and those other schools. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't even have training table. You know what I'm saying? So what are you going to tell them when the kid asks you how you going to develop me? What about this? What about this? Who are you going to bring with you and everything else? Because now, tell me about Hampton. It's a lot of stuff that he himself has to learn. You got to learn the HBCU way. So it's a lot of stuff that you have to go to. So I hope he surrounds himself with some quality coaches that are HBCU guys, or at least know the HBCU landscape. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
because
what's up, fellas?
Again, your recruiting budget is not the whole United States anymore.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, Bruce.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to say something, because this is one of the things that's, you guys, Mr. Campbell know this. I don't know if you and Coach Fred know this, but I'm for player empowerment, player mobility, player choice, right? That's what I'm really for. And I think the NCAA has exploited players for far too long. And guys like yourself, Bruce, and even you, Fred, you guys were taken advantage of as players and exploited for too many years. This is one of the things that burns me up when people want to talk about Andrew, and even you just mentioned about players coming to HBCUs. And it burns me up, because my point is, why do the players who play at these prestigious universities, why do they have to not have training table? Why can't they have adequate facilities? Why can't they have just the basics, adequate training and nutrition, healthcare, so on and so forth? Why can't they just have the basics? I'm not talking about the extras. We're not talking about the extras. Why isn't there an infrastructure in place at these institutions? And Fred, you can speak to this probably better than anybody. Why isn't there infrastructure in place? Even at championship programs, they end up having to deal with things like not having adequate nutrition, not having adequate training, not having adequate facilities. Why is that?
Well, it goes back to one thing. It goes back to money. It goes back to never having it before. You know, at the last place I was at, um, it was said once before when we were in the middle of that run that uh, you're winning without it. Why is it such a pressing
Mm,
deal now? You
mm,
know, to have it, and it's just one of those things where if you don't have the right people that are really in tune to athletics, they're never going to know, right? They just think you're asking for money. They just think you're asking to get this, and this. They don't understand that the college football landscape has completely changed. I'll take it to a PWI. Jimbo Fisher essentially left Florida State, and they were happy he left because he kept asking for this, and they couldn't understand why he kept asking for after they won a national championship. He kept asking because he saw what Clemson was doing. I'm trying to stay ahead of them. This is what we need. Clemson has put this 3-story football facility with a giant slide. They have a barber in there 12 hours a day. We got to have the same thing here in Tallahassee. And they couldn't understand because they weren't athletic people. So if you don't have athletic people, and I don't mean they swam in college, they played golf in college, you got to have people in the administration that were football, that were basketball people, that were around that for them to fully understand. Because right now, it's the arms race, period. It's the arms
and
race.
so that's what I'm saying, Fred. If you don't have adequate trainers, adequate nutrition, training table, facilities, then I'm gonna be honest with you, this is how I feel. You don't deserve to win as a program. You shouldn't win. You should be watching the Celebration Bowl. You should be at the bottom of the standings in whatever division you are. That's your right. That's what you get what you pay for. You get in you should get what you decide to invest. And if you invest nothing, you should get nothing. And I'm tired. I
But
just
Rock,
hate that our kids are in a situation where they're almost being vilified for taking advantage of the opportunities that they've
but
earned. And I don't think they should. I don't think they should give HBCUs a break. I don't think they should give PWIs a break. I think they should get the most they can get while they can get it.
but
Hey,
Rock,
Bruce,
look at
Bruce, let me set you up. You went to Grambling State University, one of the leaders all time of producing NFL players. From that experience, based off what he said, Grambling wouldn't be Grambling. But tell me why all those Grambling greats appreciate it, and they didn't have none of that what Rocky talked about, but y'all got more Hall of Famers than LSU.
but with us, it was all about, you know what I'm saying, just being the next to leave your legacy. It was all about trying to, you know what I'm saying, beat the guys that came before. Like when I got there, I kid you not, I looked at all the quarterbacks that came before me. You know, I looked at what they had done, and I wanted to be the best to leave there. So for me, it was just all about beating them, being better than those guys. And those guys were Hall of Famers like Coach Williams. Like I told Coach Williams, I was gonna break every record he had. And he didn't believe it. But then why he was my coach, and he see a lot of people don't know is a lot of times Coach Williams took me out when I was getting ready to break his touchdown record. Like Coach Williams had the record for 7 touchdowns in the game. Every time I was getting ready to break his record, he took me out. Like Coach Spears would say, hey, one more, we got the record. And Coach Williams would tell the next quarterback to warm up. You know what I'm saying? But that's the type of kid I was. I wanted to be the best, you know what I'm saying, at a historic place like that. Another thing, we don't have the funding, because guess what? If we had that $20 million that ESPN is giving all the PWIs, then guess what? We would be able to have some of those facilities and things like that. Like when we had BET back in the days, we were excited. You know, we thought we were doing something on BET because we thought that was our channel. You know what I'm saying? When Joe Claire pulled up on your campus, you was like, you know what I'm saying? We big time. We done made it. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have the money that they have. We don't have the facilities. If you just saw our meeting rooms, you'd have been like, how you guys are Grambling winning all these championships, and we was meeting outside in like a storage closet.
What I'm saying, well, that's the problem, Bruce. Bruce, you are, as I've come to understand what Black college football is about, you represent the best of Black college football that they have to offer. Not only as a player, but also as a graduate. Bruce, watch this, Bruce. You have a measured intelligence that nobody has been able to compete with in any level. Yet and still, Bruce, you are not rewarded with what your intelligence should have rewarded you with, which is an opportunity to shape minds, pour into kids in the conference that you lit up as a player.
Rock, you trouble, Rock. You trouble, Rock.
No.
Rock, I agree.
It's time to again.
I agree with
you. Have no real allegiance to any school, so I'm not.
Rock, I agree with you.
I'm looking at this from simply a college football fan, Coach. I'm looking at this. You mean to tell me Vince Young can be the director of ops at the University of Texas, and Grambling can't find a position for Bruce Eugene?
So, Rock, this is, and I think me and you had this talk, Mr. Campbell. We had this talk, and I've had this talk before, and that's the thing that, I kid you not, frustrates me about my school, because I'm like, if I was at the PWI with everything I did, I'll be director of ops, director of recruiting. I'll be in the community affairs. It would be some type of position on campus to utilize, you know what I'm saying, my name, what I've done and everything else to get people there. And I said the same thing about Grambling. I'm like, I don't see how I don't get no position. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Like community affairs, recruiting, something to utilize what I'm doing. Because again, when you see people like Vince Young do it, you know what I'm saying? You see all the other guys from other PWIs get an opportunity to go back to their schools with jobs and everything else. And it's like,
and let me say this, Bruce. The reason why I mentioned Vince Young, I mentioned him for a very specific reason, and this is the reason why. No, VY is a legend, and he's one of my favorite college players of all time. But let me just say this, Vince. Let me say this about Vince. In a measure of intelligence, Vince scored an 8. You scored what, Brugene?
41. We know Vince ain't smarter than me. We know that.
No. What I'm saying, no, that's not the point I'm talking about. So what I'm simply saying, if one of the most prestigious universities in this country can find a position for Vince to work and thrive and feed his family and be a representative of the institution that he poured into, certainly. What exit is that on I-20, Mr. Campbell?
Exit ain't one. But hold on, let me, okay, because what I don't want to do is bog this down. I'm going to make this thing, we're going to move on.
I'm just going to make that point.
No, and we can have enough, we can bring everybody else. But I'm going to say this, and Bruce knows this. And there's some politics that go on this, but let me tell you something. You had a governor down there in Louisiana that tried to cut the funding for Grambling. Literally. Yeah. Bobby Jindal literally tried to cut the water. They say cut the water off. He literally tried to cut the water off.
Yeah.
Alcorn is owed damn near $1 billion. FAMU, you give FAMU is owed $1 billion. Jack State is owed probably $700 million. You give me our money, and guess what? Bruce Eugene will have to worry about no politics, but to your point, because they'd have a job for him for $100,000. We wouldn't have to worry about Shadu and them leaving to go to Colorado because Jack State would have damn near $1 billion. And mind you, that's money owed. That ain't money on interest, which would be $2 billion. For Jackson State and Alcorn and FAMU. So I'm not going to let you come in here and say, I understand why Andrew left, but until you address the first thing and foremost of them crackers down in Texas, not giving Prairie View their money, not giving Texas Southern, we ain't going to have this conversation because it ain't a fair conversation. It's very easy for you to sit back from the outside and say, oh, well, Grambling, they gave Bruce no Eugene. How about you talk to Bobby Jindal and say why Grambling ain't got their $100 million? How about Southern need to get their $1 billion? When you make that argument first, we can have this conversation there.
Again, what I'm saying is Bruce did it. No, listen to what I'm saying. Bruce did it under the circumstances that he did it in, and there are people that eat and live off the institution, and anybody should be able to do it. It should be Bruce.
But Rocky, listen,
there are people
right
now that eat and live off the institution.
Bruce will tell you that we know that's a little bit of politics down there, Grambling, but I'm telling you, And we can, and like Bruce, we're not gonna get in that because I've been to Grambling. I know all that. Bruce is not even in the Hall of Fame of the SWAC, so we already know something going on with that. But Rocky, the bigger point of it is when you make the statement and you using Bruce, when I'm trying to make it bigger. When you got guys at Jackson State, at Southern that's owed $1 billion, North Carolina A&T has been, Tennessee State owed $1 billion. All these things you're talking about, because guess what? Alabama State, I think, is owed damn near $1 billion because they're a land grant school. Or A&M, it might be A&M. I'm sorry, A&M is the land grant school, I believe. Guess what? If you give me $1.9 billion, it wouldn't be a sucker leave Florida. If you gave Jackson State and Alcorn their $1 billion, Mississippi State and Ole Miss wouldn't get nobody. Because you know what? And I'm going to go to Bruce's point, and I'm going to use South Carolina State. There's Clemson right up the road, South Carolina. But you know what? South Carolina State, that little school, produced NFL player after NFL player because you know why? Because those coaches pour into those guys and prepare them for the pros. And I tell you what, to Bruce's point, to Coach Fred, get me to the pros. South Carolina State showed it. Texas had a draft where they didn't even have anybody that last year that they fired that coach before Sarkis. Now, one kid got drafted. My friend, Yolanda Taylor's son, Ford, who played for the Saints, he was on the team. Now, they had $1 million worth of NIL and all that, and not one of those kids got drafted. But listen, we want to talk about it. I want to get to Marshall Faulk because that really talks about more where we're at.
Oh, my God. Let's check.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So listen, guys, we're talking about Marshall Faulk. Southern hired him. One of the things looks like one of their big boosters, Tony Clayton. I think that's his name.
That's his guy. Tony, that's the money man.
The money man. So Marshall Faulk is getting $400,000 and $950,000 for his staff. Coach Fred, I want to talk to you. What would $900,000? What is that staff going to look like, and how's that money going to get distributed?
So he's probably going to bring in his two coordinators and probably make them the highest paid in the conference, which should put them in the 140, 150 mark.
So that's 300. That's 300 out the 950 gone.
Right.
And then you're going to try to find a person to possibly handle your special teams. Now he may not be that 150, but he's going to make a nice size as well. And then you want your quarterback guy, if he's not your OC, you want to make sure that he's good, that you got money to lure what you feel is the best guy to come in. But then you got to also understand now you have 11 coaches plus your head spot.
Okay.
But now, Mr. Campbell, now we have general managers. Now we have recruiting coordinators. Now we have all these different positions.
Analysts.
Now I'm wondering, are they asking him or telling him that's got to come out of that 950 or whatever it is as well, which is going to make difficult understanding. So, most importantly, your coordinators, your O-line, and now your quarterback, and then you kind of go from there. So it'll be interesting to see who he brings, if he learned anything from his time at Colorado and watching Colorado. Is he going to bring that as well, that type of mindset, or is he going to try to find people?
It's an NFL guy. He's bringing an NFL guy as a coordinator.
Okay. Well, that kind of tells me a little bit about it. Now, what are you going to bring under you to help you navigate through this space that you've never been in? So that's going to be interesting to see how this all kind of shakes out, because he's got enough to go and get credible guys that can help him navigate this space. But where does he want to go in this space is the question that I would have, Mr. Campbell, as far as how he's going to divvy that up. Is he going to try to have a staff of 30, or is he going to try to have a quality staff of 11 to 15 that he can take care of and make sure they have a decent living for the amount of work that they're going to have to put into that program to get it turned around?
Now, Fred, I want to explain, even though I know the answer, but I want you as a coach. That 950, is that a bucket or is that per year that they use to replenish? So every year, that's what they have to maintain the staff, or is that a bucket?
So that's his baseline. And when we get to 27,
right,
now we'll see where the funding is. But that's your baseline. So I brought Mr. Campbell in at 80. That's where it is, unless it's just falling off the table, then I may have to deduct, or as usual, process happens, usually I'll be able to come back if we've done what we're supposed to do and bump Mr. Campbell up from 80 to 84, 85 or whatever, because now they tend to give you more depending on what you've done.
So this is a yearly amount that he's going to have for staff. That 950,000 is yearly.
Yes.
Now, yes. Bruce, listen, listen. This is your arch rivals. I'm gonna say this again, Marshall Faulk. We got a lot of other people. This should be your next quarterback coach. He'll come down there. You got to pay him 120 though, because he got to tell the people Grambling why he had to go. So, hey, Bruce Eugene will do it for 120, maybe 110. Bruce, what do you think about the hire of Marshall Faulk and this a large amount, which I heard is a great amount for HBCU staff, or 950,000?
Well, for them, they needed a splash. They've had a couple of down years. Not to say Coach Graves and Coach Dooley are not great coaches, because I know Coach Dooley real well. We talk on the regular, and even Coach Graves, but they wanted the splash. That's the thing now. Let me go get an NFL guy to come take over my program. And, Deshaun Jackson going to Delaware State, doing what he's doing. And Vic going to Norfolk. Prime went to, what I'm saying? But I tell everybody all the time, we were the first. We were the first. We had Doug Williams walking that door after he left Morehouse, and he didn't have what they working with now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's the thing now. Everybody want an NFL coach to come in, a former NFL player to come in and do it, and they got the guy. The good thing about them, they got a New Orleans guy, which means now he'll know the area.
Right.
He'll know the state. He'll know the talent that's around the state. He has he's close friends with some of the guys I'm close friends with. So I know they're shooting them in the right direction when it comes to, we got players over here, players over here. I even sent them a list of our guys. From Locust Grove to one of my homeboys that he's communicating with on the regular. I sent them, Armand and our whole list over there to check him out. And he likes some of our kids. You know what I'm saying? So he's doing the due diligence. The thing I like is he's not leaving no stone unturned. He's not, they this and they're that. Like anybody that come with him with kids, he's taking the time to look at them, eval them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which now, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's going to make him, and that's going to put him ahead of a lot of people that don't do that. That don't take their time to eval certain kids, because I'm one of those believers, right? And I tell people, if I ever get in that hot seat to be a head coach, or even the coordinator where I'm, helping in recruitment, the first thing I would do, if I'm him, everybody that's a former Southern Jaguar that's coaching anywhere around the world, those would be my first phone call. Send me y'all kids y'all have. I'm going to check y'all kids out before I check out anybody other kids. Let me check y'all kids out. You know what I'm saying? Because now you get those Southern Jaguar guys, now I get them involved back in the school. I get them alumni involved back in what's going on. I got them included, which now guess what? Just like I'm excited about what's going on, they're now excited. So now I'll get to check their kids out, and you know how it is. Like if I got a kid, if I'm just saying right now, Mickey Joseph is the coach right now. If Mickey Joseph called me and say, "Hey Bruce, send me all your kids. Send me a list of all your kids." In a heartbeat, I'm gonna send you everything from the best I got.
What you have done?
I'm not gonna send you nothing that I know can't play at Grambling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna even disrespect you to that point. But I'm gonna send you guys that I feel can play at Grambling. Now, whether you offer them or not, I can't get mad at it if you don't. But the fact that you took the time to really get my kids, eval them, and take a look at them and everything else, and then give me a response back, that's all I can ask for.
Rocky, what do you think about the hire what the money they're going to spend? Because you came in on this prime train. What do you think?
Well, again, I always believe that that celebrity coaches bring a certain level of energy to a program and a fan base that's valuable. But I think it's only valuable in the short term. There has to be a sustainable program, something done to sustain the program. Like Prime was able to get some infrastructure things done along with becoming the coach at Jackson State. And so I think there's also going to have to be some infrastructure thing done for Southern in the process. It can't be just Marshall getting paid. I think Marshall was also brought here to bring resources to Southern as well. That's what Reggie Flood explained on one of his lives, is that Marshall's not only coming with a wealth of football knowledge, but he's coming with resources. And you got to see those resources materialize in infrastructure upgrades for Southern. You know, at the end of the day, you know, money is cool, but how does Southern, this is football, and you guys know this, there is no guarantee in football. Just because they spend $400,000 on Marshall and $950 on the coaching pool, that doesn't guarantee you wins. It doesn't guarantee you anything. What's going to have to happen is it's going to have to be Southern alumni, Southern fans, the community in Baton Rouge, all pulling in one direction. That's what it's going to take. And if Marshall can get that done, then I think Southern will have a successful. Marshall will have a successful tenure in Southern. But if he can't get everybody on the same page, pulling in one direction, you know, it can be very difficult.
Let me tell you something, Rock. One thing about that nation: win, lose, or draw, they showing up. They showing up like them Southern Jaguars love. They love Southern. You know what I'm saying? So they
impatient though. They impatient.
No, but the thing about it, you got to realize when you a program like a Southern and Graham that have won championship after championship multiple years and everything else, and you're used to winning, there's no such thing as a rebuild when you go into a school like that. We reload. You know what I'm saying? We don't rebuild. So when you get to a down year, they'll give you one down year, but they're not gonna give you 2 and 3, and they're not doing that. One down year.
They gave Terrence Graves one down year. You know, he's walking. Marshall Faulk is walking into a 2-10 program. You are what your record says you are.
Absolutely.
He's walking into a 2-10 program. So what is the expectation for year one for Marshall Faulk? If y'all think y'all going to the Celebration Bowl just because y'all hired Marshall Faulk, y'all are sadly mistaken. This is not the West that Eric Dooley was in. This is not the West that Terrence Graves began coaching in. This is a different West.
There's
a new sheriff in the West.
What was Graves' record before this 2-10?
They what, 7-5, 8-4? Something
like that. Yeah.
A whole different show, but Rock, like, what's the different West? Help me out.
That's what I'm saying, because it's still the same teams I used to beat up on in there.
Well, I guess he's talking about Ray Jackson, Coach of the Year, is over there at Prairie View.
Now they've gotten better. Like Prairie View was the doormat when we went back in the day. So they, you know what I'm saying, they've gotten better and everything else. And Rock, I definitely understand you, but I think this, right? When you look at a Terrence Graves demeanor, because what everybody's gonna look at is if I get an NFL coach, then that's gonna come with NFL coaching. That's gonna come with, like you said, resources, because he gonna pull from his NFL resources and things like that. So they're just thinking like we get a Pro Bowl Hall of Fame. We get a Hall of Famer like a Marshall Faulk to come in. That's gonna make him a Hall of Fame coach. Like you say, it don't work like that. It's gonna be about what's gonna make him a great coach is his staff. I want to see the staff that he assembles. Once you see the staff that he assembles, then you can say, okay.
Is he gonna bring somebody in like Dennis Thurman, who once had the #1 defense in the NFL? Is he going to do that?
But I'm saying we got to wait to see, because right now, you know what I'm saying? Like I did hear that his coordinator is going to be an NFL guy. So I'm pretty sure if his offensive coordinator is an NFL guy, I'm pretty sure he's going to try to pull.
I would get Dennis Thurman if I was him.
And Dennis Thurman's out there. Is Dennis out there in Hawaii living his best life, making a whole bunch of money? He ain't coming back. Dennis ain't coming back. So, guys, listen, I want to move on because, like I said, I know I got you guys up late, and Bruce, I know you got to go to work. So I want to
look. Hey, Friday we out of school, man.
Oh, okay, all right, well, good. We gonna keep rolling because we got some big things, and we got over 220 people. Man, listen, we appreciate. Hey, man, hit that like button, man. You're not getting any content like this, but people say, "Why I got this U-Haul truck?" Well, this is the reason why, because there are coaches that are moving, coach, and we got one coach that I really want to talk about. That I think is interesting. Is that Larry Scott, the coach at Howard, has resigned, got his U-Haul, and is going to Alabama to be the tight ends coach. Now I'm going to set this up, and I want to see what your opinion is. I think
Auburn,
Larry Scott has gotten tired of the Howard stuff. He's seen Deshaun Jackson, Chennis Berry, and of course my boy Trey Oliver and Michael Vick. And he's like, man, I don't think we're gonna have a win up here. Let me get out before they get me out.
Go that. Let me tell you something. That HBCU life is not for the, you know what I'm saying, not for the soft at heart now.
Yeah.
It's not for the soft at heart.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Yeah. So what do you guys think about that? Because, you know, again, I don't think he's in the same position as Willie Simmons, where he's like, you know, Larry, if you move, you'll be able to get a PWI job. You know what I'm saying? As a coach, I think this is more about, hey, man, you know what? I'd have done this. I was at Florida. I've been a couple of places. I can get more money and just coach tight ends. So what do you guys think about, you know, and Coach Fred, we'll start with you. What do you think about Larry Scott leaving to be a head coach for Howard to go into Auburn to be a tight ends coach?
Well, you know how I feel about them guys from the 863, and you know, Larry's from the 863. But I beg to differ with you there, Mr. Campbell, because if you remember, Larry took the U and won some games, and everybody thought he was going to get that job on an interim basis. He did work at South Florida on an interim basis, and you know, he coached there as well. I think, and again, this is me just thinking for you know, how Larry's probably viewing it. I think he's viewing it as that, an opportunity to go there, and then this next cycle be able to get back to a G5, possibly get himself in position to be mentioned for one of those mid-majors, high mids, because you got to remember now, he had a pretty good offense at Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
So I think his thing is to get back in it before he gets erased, or people not really remember him for what he did at Miami, what he did at Tennessee, what he did at, you know, South Florida. I think that's kind of one of those deals of where he's trying to springboard it the same as Coach Simmons, is what I would think, or what I would say in that situation.
Now, Bruce, what do you think about that? And just like I say again, Coach Fred knows him personally, knows a lot about him. I don't know how much you know about Coach Scott, but what do you even think about him leaving Howard to go to Auburn to be the tight ends coach?
Well, I know Coach Scott a little bit. We had a conversation about some of my kids when, you know what I'm saying, with the recruit and everything else. You know, like Coach said, he hitting it from that point of view. I'm looking at it as, I'll be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that people he got tired. Like, you get used to things being one way, and then you come here thinking that I'll be able to change and make it like that on my own, with my own twist and my own spin and everything else. And then when you get there, and then you realize, man, I can't get this, I can't get this, I can't get this, I can't get that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like you said, all of that falls on your shoulders when you take that job as the head man and you can't get everything, you can't get it done, and you're not winning games. You know what I'm saying? All that falls on your shoulder. And like you said, I can get up out of here, go down to Auburn, you know what I'm saying, work with my guy, you know, and just, like you said, relax, coach tight ends, you know, instead of having to worry about the whole team, I got to worry about my 5 or 6 tight ends I'm going to have, you know what I'm saying, to have my room and just go to work like that. You know, it's like I said, that being a head man at an HBCU, that's not for the soft at heart, because you got to do more than just coach. You got to go out there and try to get funding. You got to go out there and try to find donations. You got to go out there and try to find this. You got to try to find everything that your program need, because guess what? If you don't have an athletic director that's fighting for you or trying to bring your vision to life, then this type of situation you're going to be in.
So guys, listen, you've heard 2 names, and again, you know, up there, Virginia Union's coach, Dr. Alvin Parker. You've got Henry Frazier up there, Virginia State. What do you think about those guys moving up there? Or does Howard, because it is Howard, they do have a lot of money, but they do have issues as far as getting kids in because of academics. Do they go on Celebrity Splash, or do they look through the landscape and say, you know what, let's get Hampton's doing, our rivals gun to Bama, let's go get a PWI guy? Or do we get a D2 successful guy and bring him up to Howard? What do you guys think about who could be the coach at Howard?
Whatever they do, they got to do it quick. Again, And just to go back to Coach Scott, I think, if you look at it, the coach that he's going to work under left South Florida.
My guy Golish.
Coach Scott played at South Florida. He's one of the first classes when they became a program. I think that light switch flipped for him, that if I'm in this position, then I get an opportunity, so to speak, to make that jump from an Auburn back to my alma mater, at South Florida or something like that. So I think that's kind of that switch.
Now, Coach, I will listen. You just gave. See, I haven't heard this. See, this is what I'm saying. This is HBCU Coaches Corner. What is the relationship with Coach Scott, the new coach at Auburn?
South Florida.
How about that? See, a lot of people not talking about why. See, this is what I'm talking about. When people are like, why did Larry Scott go to Auburn? Well, there you go. Coach Fred just trying to explain to you that connection. So I just want to let people know that, because you hear it on the surface, right? And he's going to Auburn, but you explain it why. You're like, why not Alabama? Why not X school? You know what I'm saying? Why was it Auburn? And I'm glad you explained that, or why it was Auburn.
Yeah, so that's the history. That's how it kind of backtracks. And again, I'm speaking for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that would be my thought, right? Going back to South Florida as the head coach would probably be a dream for him. That's home. That's where he's from. That's his area. He helped start that program. So being in a position to be able to go back and get a position, a head coaching position like that, would be a lot easier coming from Auburn than where he was. Same thing for Coach Simmons. A lot easier coming from Duke and it's no knock versus fam.
No, we totally understood.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the way of the world. That's the way the game goes. So I think that, so when we talk about that opening, if they're not particularly comfortable with somebody that's on that staff, they got to move quick. And I got to believe that in Coach Scott moving on, that's kind of been worked out to where, okay, these guys are going to be taken care of regardless of what you do for X amount of time. I got to believe that Coach Scott's a stand-up guy. He wouldn't leave those other guys high and dry in December, knowing that they may not have a job in January. So I got to believe that's kind of how that's going to go. So I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody on staff be named a bridge gap until next year.
Okay.
If they have somebody on staff that they feel, comfortable with to do that.
So, Bruce, what do you think? How it go big? They got the big money, bring somebody nice and flashy, or do they go and look at a guy like, say, the Alvin Parkers and the Henry Frazier's?
So I like what Coach Fred said, the bridge. I think if the bridge was going to be done, I think it would have probably been done before he left. Just because I think they would have made that, when him gone, immediately moved that. Because remember, you got to think about recruiting. You know what I'm saying? Because now, if you don't have somebody in there quick, now recruiting starts now. Things going on now, conversations, kids you're trying to get, even portal guys. So you got to get moving, because if not, then you're going to have yourself another down year going into next year and everything else. So, but I think with Howard being Howard, I can see them trying to go and get a Howard guy. Maybe like a Ted White, former Howard guy. Has worked in the NFL, with Pep Hamilton. Maybe Pep Hamilton. Another Howard guy. So they have guys that, or there that, but now it would be, do those guys want to accept that role? Me, if that was me, yeah, I would definitely go back to my alma mater in a heartbeat, because that's home. That's where the heart is. But you got to see, do they want to accept that challenge? If not, I don't know which direction they go in, because now, then, like you said, it leaves you to select somebody on the staff. And I think if they wanted somebody on the staff, I think that would have, been easy. Kind of like Ole Miss. Right. When Lane left, they didn't waste no time. Coach Golden, you the next head coach at Ole Miss. Because now you got to think about recruits. You got to think about the players that are there. Do we want them to leave and everything else? So now, guess what? We lost Lane, but we kept one of the coordinators. So, if you lose Larry, but do you move up one of the coordinators? You know what I'm saying? To keep everything going and everything else. Now it goes what you say, Fred. You keep a coordinator. Now everybody that's been there with Larry, you know what I'm saying? Your staff is still intact. You know what I'm saying? Now you just got to hire one coach to replace you and your role of what you were doing.
Rocky, what do you think? What do you got? What do you got on the Howard thing? I know you saw it. And
Go Fred to the Mecca, baby.
listen, we trying to get jobs here, baby. Listen, see, y'all don't understand. This is an undercover interview that I'm doing for both of these coaches. That's how I'm already doing y'all work, HR. They already been drug tested. They already passed the background check. They TSA certified, so they ain't got no felonies. They teach, so they already good. Rocky, what you got?
No, I think this is a situation where I think you got a coach that was kind of raised up as a coach in a very competitive situation, being at Power 5 schools. And he goes to a situation that now I'm looking from the outside in, and I'm wondering, is Howard serious about football?
Right.
And maybe Coach Larry Scott is wondering, are they serious about football? And if they're not, then I want to be somewhere where they're serious about football. And in the SEC, they're serious about football. So again, these are things that Scotty had someone who represented Howard on his show, Erica.
Yeah.
And she says, if we can't do it with the kids that academically are Howard kids, then we don't want it to happen. And if I were to hear that as a head coach, then I would be looking for somewhere else to coach as well. Because I want to do it with football players. Because we're playing football. If you know what I mean? This is not the debate team. This is not the glee club. This is football. And you got to do it with young men who are not only educated, but kind of wired a little different. Because football is not an easy game, as you guys know. It's a game that requires courage. It's a game that requires the ability to throw your body into another man. And I'm not saying that may not pass the intelligence test all the time. You got to find a guy that wants to do that maybe more than they want to do other things. And so
Coach,
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
I was once told by a coach, I don't want a bunch of student athletes. I want a bunch of athletic students.
There you go. Well,
Coach,
but you know, though, I think so. And again, and I'm talking about levels, not the level of player, but I'm talking about academic profile.
Yeah.
Notre Dame does it. Stanford does it.
No,
Vanderbilt does it.
No, Stanford don't.
They don't do it, Coach?
No, Stanford don't. And Vanderbilt only started to do it when they got in the NIL game. Other than that, they couldn't do it.
But
and
you got
to go back and look. They went and they kind of lessened some of their requirements to get into Vandy.
Okay. So they changed.
They've never taken a
they
junior
acquiesced to the SEC admission
standards. They've never taken a junior college kid. Now they've taken a few junior college kids. So,
but what about with Stanford when they were winning 10 games and stuff like that? Even going back to Bill Walsh, they've had some success.
Stanford had Harbaugh. And then once he left, remember we talking about once that name leaves, you know what I'm saying? Like what keeps them there? So now, like with Andrew Luck coming back and being the general manager and everything else, that's gonna be.
But wait a minute, hold on.
Bruce,
I'm gonna set this up. I think you gonna go where I'm going. So there's not a black coach that can get academic kids. Confirm it is Howard.
Well, Shaw did a good job when after he replaced Harbaugh, he did a good job. But then, like you said, you got to keep it up. You know what I'm saying? It ain't. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna do it for a year or two, but then you got to be consistent, and that's where it got hard at. You know what I'm saying? Just being consistent.
I definitely could, but I've got to have a few exceptions here and there as well.
They do.
So that's what I'm saying. So Stanford don't have those exceptions. Vanderbilt built those exceptions.
Does though. Stanford does.
Yeah.
I had two kids. I had two players go play at Stanford: Dalen Wade Perry and Zephron Lester. Right. Zephron was one of those exceptions that. Thank you, Stanford. you know what I'm saying, that on that test score, we were supposed to get this, but we got close enough to it that you tried and everything else, we'll give you one. You know what I'm saying? But was my kid Zephron Lester a world beater? No, he wasn't. But he was a good football player. He was a consistent football player, but he was never a starter until his last year.
Was he? Did he graduate, Coach, from Stanford?
He graduated from Stanford.
Well, see,
so now that's where, you know what I'm saying, him and Jalen graduated from Stanford.
Well, let me ask you this here, Bruce. Did he win anything, or did he get his coach fired?
Oh, he was on one of the teams that got Shaw fired. You know?
So that's what I'm saying. So let's and again, and again, I'm one of these guys that's a realist, and I understand because I've been in this, and I've told Campbell this, being in the belly of the beast here in Waco, with a school that wanted to win with their guys, Baylor University. They wanted to win with their guys. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they played their guys, they got their ass kicked all over the Big 12. When they were playing with their guys. When they started getting football players, what happened? They started playing for Big 12 championships.
Yeah.
You understand? And so a school has to make that decision. And guess what, Bruce and Coach Fred? You guys on the coaching side, you know this. Some schools don't want to be known for athletics. They don't want to be known for athletics. They would rather be known as a strong academic school with a pretty good football program. They don't want to be known as a football school. And I think that's where Howard is. And if you're okay with a coach, with that being your signature, a really good school with a okay football program, then take that job. But I think Larry Scott was at Power 5 schools where they were required to win. Yeah. And because of that, he has a certain standard, and that may not mesh with the agenda of the institution.
Guys, hang on. I'm having a little bit of trouble. Be right back. Let me see if I can get myself
let me ask you this, Coach Fred. Does sometimes the football mission conflict with the school's mission?
Most definitely does. You know, again, you hit it on the head. We're paid to coach football, not be mentors. You know, that comes later. That's a free part of what you do. The football part is what you're paid for, and that's what they expect. Now, do they always understand what it takes? No. And we talked about that earlier in the show. Sometimes the administration at certain places may not have people that are connected to athletics, so they don't fully understand what it means in that sense. But yeah, I think sometimes those missions do cross, and that's like with anything else, you know. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I want, and I can say that too. But then once I get to 5, it's like, okay, 5A and then 5B. And then you're going to be like, wait a minute. There was no 5A or 5B. It was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think that's just kind of how it goes.
All right. Well, I'm going to, guys, we got one more real quick. And then I'm going to, because I've seen in the chat, I've been trying to hold it off, but I'm going to have to address it. We just found out that Teddy Keaton was fired from Clark, which I thought was really shocking. You know, brought Clark last year to the SIAC championship game. Of course, they lost to Sam Shade and those guys. I think they were 3-9 this year. A little bit of rocky stuff, but I think they had the newcomer of the year at quarterback. Offense still with the offense. What do you guys think about what happened at Clark, and what is Teddy Keaton? Does he go look to try to be offensive coordinator? Does he look there? Because there's a lot of jobs. I'm gonna name some of these jobs. Langston is open. Morehouse is open. Albany State is open. Howard is open. Savannah State's open. Is there something the job that Teddy Keaton could get?
I think it depends on what happened there, because that's a shocker to me, because what you just said, like 2 seasons ago, they go in there, they beat Bethune, take the check, make a run in the playoffs or at the conference deal. I think, if it wasn't on his own doing, which I don't know, if it wasn't on his own doing, then I think it's one of those deals of where it's kind of, okay, it's going to be what happened before anybody else kind of gets involved in that, if that makes sense.
Right.
To me. But, I don't know if you know anybody there at Clark Atlanta. That's right down the street from them.
I can't hear him.
From the Dome, huh?
You can't hear Bruce. We can hear. You can't hear him?
I can't hear him.
Well, I can hear Coach Fred. The people in the chat, you guys can hear Coach Fred, right? In the chat, because Coach, I can hear you playing.
Yeah. We can hear Coach Fred. Yeah, we hear Coach Fred.
Bruce. Bruce, you can hear me? We'll let Bruce figure it out. Go ahead, Coach. We'll let Bruce figure it out.
All I was gonna say, Mr. Campbell, is we drove right past there. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know anybody there or whatever. Get him on the phone, man. Let's talk.
Hey, listen. I'm gonna say this: HBCU Coaches Corner. We can have your offensive. Listen, hey, Coach Eugene said, "Hey, listen, make me the head coach." We got Coach Fred can be the DC. Hey, and Coach Eugene can bring a whole load of talent, because I saw a whole load of talent. So Clark, listen, I got your coaches for you. So guys, listen, we're gonna finish this up, and I'm gonna tap dance around this. As you see, there's another U-Haul. There's another big announcement that was made. Coach Quinn Gray and Auburn State made an announcement that Quinn Gray is leaving. There's a certain place that has been rumored for where he might go. Florida State. I'm sorry, Florida State. I'm laughing so hard. Florida A&M University. I don't know what's going on, because I'm getting people texting, why they ain't made an announcement? What's going on? And he's going to West Georgia, and people talking about he's going to Hampton. I'm sorry, guys. Hampton hired a coach. All I can say is this, and I'll get you guys' opinion on this, and I'm not going to say too much on it. I believe that Coach Quinn Gray will be the next coach at Florida A&M. I think he's a perfect fit. I think, there were other coaches that possibly were considered, but I think they wanted to stay where they were at. And I think, honestly, when you look at it, Quinn Gray, to me, is going to be the next T.C. Taylor. I think he's going to, not talk loud, but carry a big stick. I think he's going to come in there. He's going to be able to put discipline in. He's going to be able to put a very great dynamic offense in. He's got some players I know that can come from Albany State that can play at FAMU, and I think he's going to be a hell of a recruiter. And I also think that he's going to be able to build a great staff. Coach Fred, you actually know Coach Quinn. You coached with him down at Alcorn. Tell us about what you think about Coach Quinn and the fit again. And we talked about this a little bit before, but now since he's gone from Albany, and hey, Coach Quinn, defense, and you need a defensive coordinator, defensive back coach. Here go your guy. He can recruit the JUCOs. He can recruit a lot of Florida. We want them Florida boys. What you got there, Coach?
I think he's a great fit. He's a Florida guy. He's a FAMUan. He's a big FAMUan. He's not just a FAMUan. He's a guy that put a lot of effort into that program as a player. Again, he's from South Florida. I think the fit lines up great. He's shown what he can do the last 2 years at Albany State with an opportunity. He came into Tallahassee and gave you guys a scare. I think that, he put his resume on the field that day as well. Again, when you talk about a perfect fit, I think he's the guy with patience. I don't think the program is as far off as other programs. And I think he comes in and gives an instant jolt to the fan base as well as the kids in that locker room, because he can point to his name in that book. He can point to his pictures, his time on the highest of seven hills. He can point to his time there. He knows where y'all are going. He knows all about this. I just think it'll be a great fit just from a personality, a recruiting standpoint, And, just for him, man, I think it'd be a great, great deal. And again, we talked about it earlier. When you're talking about right now, the time crunch you're in, I think he jumps in and he can make it right now, immediately with the talent in Florida, the talent that's from Florida that's not in Florida right now. I think he can bring that all into one, and I think he can put together a great staff that have that same understanding with what it means to bring Florida talent back to Florida.
Now, Bruce, you're a quarterback. Tell us about what you think about your fellow. Coach Quinn Gray too. What do you think about potentially him being the next Florida A&M football coach and what he would bring to the table?
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world. Let me tell you something. The Rattler Nation gonna go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's because they've been waiting for one of their own to come and take the helm of this thing and get it back to their glory days. When you think about Quinn, at FAMU, you think about the ball being spread around. You think about breaking records. You think about not only breaking the receiving records. You think about all these multiple receivers scoring touchdowns. You think about that was a time where it was a great time to be a Rattler. You know what I'm saying? That was when the Rattlers walked around with their chests out, telling them how much they dominated the MEAC. You know what I'm saying? So when you have those type of days, as an alumnus, you know what I'm saying, and a football enthusiast from that area, you're waiting for those days to happen again. And when you watch Quinn do it at an Albany State, everybody in FAMU's mind is thinking, why can't he do it here with us? Why can't we get him here? He should be doing that here and over here. Why he doing it there? So now I think it's a great opportunity. I think they're going to give him, if he gets the job, I think they're going to give him all the resources and the support he needs to win. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I think is a home run hire for them. And I think it's a home run hire just because he understands and knows what it is to be a FAMU Rattler. He knows what it is to walk those halls and walk in those, stay in those dorms and walk that campus and everything else. So he's going to cherish every moment of this because this is home for him. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to do everything in his power to bring FAMU back to, dominance and everything else. And I'm excited for him. I hope he gets it. So I'll be one of the first ones to tell him congratulations and everything else. And just let me know if you need a quarterback coach, if he don't feel like coaching quarterback.
Coach, we've had Coach Quinn Gray on. Coach Quinn Gray. I'm telling you and Coach Eugene, we talking recruiting from Louisiana all the way to Georgia, all the way to New York, Coach Brown to Florida, and you could just do your thing as a coach. Let Bruce Eugene just get them all swag, all American quarterbacks, and we just put up 40 points on the board. We bring in Coach Fred, JUCOs, Kansas, all that area. He's a Florida boy. He knows how to recruit it. He knows how to walk that walk. Man, I'm just telling you, hey, listen, I know you got your guys down there at Albany State, but listen, he's going to be able to have a big staff. He's going to have a staff that's a little bit bigger than Albany State. So, Coach, I'm trying to tell you, you've seen the level of football. I'm going to say my boy T-Buck. The FBI was on display tonight. The football.
Did I tell you I got a quarterback? Did I tell you I got a quarterback? Parker, who was offensive player of the year? You know what I'm saying? Did I mention that?
Listen, man, because I'm teasing my Jackson State folks. Because we got to cut that pipeline off from Atlanta to going down I-20 to Jackson. And we got to cut that off. They got too many people from Atlanta going down to Jackson. We got to send them down south to Tallahassee. We got to send them down south. So we need
let me say this, guys. This is T.C. Taylor. This is Eddie Robinson Jr., and we know how both of those programs have done under their heroes. I don't see any reason why this one doesn't work out as successful, or be even more successful than Eddie Robinson's. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about a guy who is from that area and who, like Coach Cole always said, he'll know where the bathroom is. He'll know where. And the most important thing, I think, and this is just my observation of FAMU, the most important thing about FAMU is keeping the FAMU supporters unified
Yep.
and connected to the program. And I believe that's what's most important about this job. Because unlike some other fan bases, I think FAMU is wanting to give their coach what he needs to win, as long as they are in support of who the man at the helm is. We saw that with Willie, you know, and now I think we'll see it again with Quinn Gray. I don't see
Campbell
how
locked in.
I don't see how this doesn't work out best for Coach Gray and for FAMU.
Look, Rock, look, Campbell been smiling since we started talking about this. My boy locked in, baby. He locked in. He like validation.
Man, listen, I don't know who's gonna be the next coach of FAMU. Now, let's think about this. We interviewed Coach Gray, right? He openly admitted the FAMU job is something that he's interested in, right? He didn't in the middle of a playoff run, he didn't split no hairs about it. He said, yes, I definitely would like to have a FAMU job. Now, I don't see Coach Quinn Gray being a man who is a fool. And you don't quit one job unless you already got one lined up. Now, I don't know which one he has lined up. Certainly he has one lined up, and Florida A&M has one open. So you can do with that with what you will, but with all those things being already out in the atmosphere, I think it's a slam dunk. I don't know anything. Campbell hadn't offered me anything, but at the end of the day, how can he not be the choice at this point? The anticipation of the fan base, I think, warrants that he's given a strong look and strong consideration. He has to me, in my opinion, he has to turn FAMU down at this point for him not to be the coach. Oh, I agree. And you know what? And I'm going to say this, and guys, I know we hit the. I'm going to shut it down, but there is one coach, and not to say for the FAMU job, but I think for all these jobs that open, that I think all these openings that we named, Terenzo Quinn got to be on this list for some of these open jobs. Coach Quinn is a guy. He is a guy. So I don't know if he wants to start, but you know, hey, maybe he goes down to Albany State, goes right in there, builds that thing up, follow that pipeline, because that's the pipeline now. He leaves Jackson State, go down to Albany State. He knows how to recruit, build a good defense. So I mean, that's my guy. I mean, I just want people to know there are a lot of names out there.
Can I ask Fred a question, though, about along that line? Fred, let me ask you this. Is a associate head coach coordinate position at a Division I HBCU, is that a position that you leave in order to be the head coach at a Division II school?
Most definitely. You know, you want that on your resume. You want to be able to say that, you know, you were the assistant head coach, you were the associate head coach or whatever. Most definitely you want that on there. You know, and you hope the right people see it. It's a lot easier to go with that next to your name than receiver coach, DB coach, you know, for whatever reason.
Do you leave those positions to go be D2 head coaches? What I'm saying is that a promotion?
Yes, because I look. So let's look at the guy I think that's at, I think the one that's in Indiana. Cincinnati. I think he left and went to like IUPUI, something like that in Pennsylvania, because he was the Alabama wide receiver coach. It's one of the coaches was the Alabama wide receiver coach, and he left and took a D2 job. He left and took a D2 job because he wanted to be a head coach and start to, you know, be seen as a head coach. And he went from being a D2 head coach to went back to being a, you know what I'm saying, coordinator, and then moved it that way. But he definitely made, you know, he talked about it. I can't think of the coach name, but it was definitely talked about it when he talked about it. He was
at James Madison before he came to Indiana.
Yeah.
So
but he said his wife looked at him, and his wife thought he was crazy leaving Alabama, and he was like, He wanted to be a head coach. So he went and took that small D2 job to show people that he can be a head coach and lead, you know what I'm saying, a group of young men and coaches. And they looked at him different.
So that's the thing. So, hey, man, listen, I just want to put that out there. I'm going to say this, guys, and I appreciate you, man. We started at 9. It's 12 midnight, man. We ain't did nothing but talk football, X's and O's, coaching, one of the best breakdowns, man. 2 of the greatest coaches that are out here that have the ability to help